me and Ryan have been officially welcomed to the jungle that is Barstool Sports.
Our white whale, Sidney Crosby.
Shave his head! Shave his head! Shave his head!
Ryan Whitney, Paul Bissonette, R.A., Mike Grinelli, Spittin Chiclets.
What is up, folks? Wow, what a tune there. Welcome to episode 558 of the Spittin Chiclets podcast. We're back live. Haven't done this since last year's playoffs. Very exciting, very exciting. Biz did about 15 games back-to-back this weekend. Yan's been watching hockey. I'm rocking an Oilers shirt after that big dub. Biz got the Leafs. But before we get into everything, let's talk about Pink Whitney. Boom! Boom! Look at this thing. Boom! Pink Whitney.
Whoa.
This is the giant bottle. This is the biggest, big old bottle, but we got the little bottles. We got the nips. We got the little guys. Take your shot with Pink Whitney. That's why we're all sitting here. Thank God to Pink Whitney vodka. It's summertime. It's warm. It's 70 degrees in Boston today. I'm home from Florida. What an amazing vacation. And I had some Pink Whitney on there. So thank you so much to everyone who drinks it. Take your shot with Pink Whitney. The playoffs are on crack, fellas. This is absolutely it's absurd. And I said the other day, like, I think I've said every year, wow, this is the greatest first round in Stanley Cup playoff history. But no. I take it all back. This year is madness. And it started maybe a touch slow, maybe just that first day last Saturday. But all of a sudden, the madness began. And now every single night, I'm just on my couch like this. I'm just amazed, shocked, and awed at what we're witnessing. Biz, take us through your weekend because you were literally in the studio for, I think, 38 of 48 hours.
Well, first of all, you should be kissing my ass for getting the Oilers back in this series.
Buddy, I ain't kissing anyone's ass,
Yep,
bro. They should be. The LA Kings.
I knew what you were doing, Biz.
Themselves.
Buddy,
You brought up that no team has come back from a 2-0 deficit in this year's playoffs. So thank you for bringing it up. But that's not why we won. We won with heart.
Yeah? And we're at TNT Studios, and Shaq walks out, and I said, the only thing that's going to bring the Edmonton Oilers back in this series is Shaq Hyman. I said, would you do us the honors of coming out in this segment? He goes, sure. Shaq Hyman coming. What a
How about the helmet?
What helmet?
It looked like a helmet you'd get a cup of ice cream with at the Red Sox game. Then, like, us putting that on. But it was an extra large Bauer.
They sell hockey helmets at Red Sox games now.
That is a perfect
his stride looked
description.
exactly like Biz's towards the end of his career.
It was incredible. And I think he even lifted that puck that he shot on net. He came in. Shaq Hyman, baby.
He did get some leverage. Yeah, I would say that his stride was a little longer than the one towards the end of my career. That's for sure. Honestly, I wasn't even that tired going through that fucking gauntlet of games because of how exciting they've been. Every game trumped the last game as far as excitement and storylines and chaos and fans going crazy online, whether it was Tom Wilson pissing everybody off again. You think they want Chara arrested for his hit on Pacioretty? They're going to want Tom Wilson in solitary confinement for the rest of his fucking life after the hit he put on Carrier. So it's just been remarkable. The production, the swings, the goals, the hits, the fights on the bench, you name it, we got it. Hockey is on a heater. I know like you said, we've said it in the past. This is the best playoff we've ever seen. This is the best season we've ever seen. It's exceeded expectations, goalie controversies, you name it. So, I mean, Jans, I'm sure you've been glued to the couch watching all these games. What have you made of it?
I know you guys give me a lot of shit for watching Bravo reality TV, but it's like the Bravo people and, Ryan Seacrest are behind these NHL playoffs. There's shit going on everywhere. The only thing we're missing is like a wife fight in the stands. That's the only thing
we might get one. We might get
one. I know.
One.
If Mrs. Wilson shows up to Montreal game 6, it could be
we're going to have Demidov fucking Kim Kardashian the fucking opening face-off game 6 back in Montreal. Like, you don't know what to expect, but like you said, it's a full-fledged reality show. And Whit, I'll hand it over to you. What a
amazing
ride.
It's been incredible. So many different ways we can go. I think kind of staying a little most recent with Sunday, at least for what I want to do, and that's talk about the Edmonton Oilers, guys. I mean,
got it.
I don't know if I've ever, and people will correct me here, I don't know if I've ever seen a team as a whole get dominated through 4 games and somehow be tied 2-2 like the Edmonton Oilers. It is nuts. Forget about the 2 games in LA. We talked about them. We haven't chatted. We chatted Friday morning. And then the madness of Friday night. I guess we can kind of start there. All I take away from that game is what will probably go down is one of the worst coaches challenges in NHL playoff history. And that sounds a little far-fetched and maybe a little dramatic, but I'm watching the game and I'm like, there's absolutely nothing to challenge there. It was quite obvious that Evander Kane, what a battle in front of the net. He bangs that thing off his skate and then clearly hits it with his stick. It's in. Goal. Now, right away, I'm like, all right, we're going to call the timeout because you could tell Jim Hiller's looking. We need a timeout to continue to decide if we're going to challenge. And then by the time the timeout ended, I'm like, there's nothing. And they decide to do it. I said immediately, we got a power play. We got a power play. What are they thinking? And it's hard to really blame him because I'm guessing, and I saw you and Rick Bowness talk about it. It's kind of the video coach's decision, I would think, where he's like, hey, go, challenge. But that one to me, a no-brainer, nothing burger, and we go on the power play, score 8 seconds later.
So, Whit, did you see the video that Army sent to the group chat though, where after it hit its like the kicking motion and it had been stopped, there was Kane did kind of he tried to shoot it in and he did touch Kemper's pad where it did start moving, but it felt like Kemper was kind of already making that movement with his leg. So to a certain degree, I could see where they're coming from. And maybe in the regular season, if you're that desperate, you may make that call. But the most shocking thing to me, Whit, is 2 times in that series already when Edmonton had tied it, LA had a response. They'd scored twice within a minute of Edmonton tying the game.
And when they haven't scored, been all over them. Every Oilers goal, they're buzzing.
Exactly. So in that situation, you have a 2-0 series lead. The game is tied with 6 minutes left. You have to be thinking to yourself, like, I would take if we could have put ourselves in this situation at the beginning of the series, you would have taken that in a heartbeat. So why not just allow your team to get the job done 5-on-5 for the last 6 minutes of regulation, and then try to win it in overtime if that's not the case? Like, to give and I know the power play for the Edmonton Oilers at that point wasn't as good as in years past, but to put essentially the best power play on the world when they figure things out with that much time left in that situation, well, what do you think's going to happen? They score 9 seconds later. The fact that they got one 9 seconds later was just the icing on the cake, and they ended up stealing one. And I was just flabbergasted by the call. And, after the game, Hiller, it did seem like he was a little rattled in the post-game presser, nowhere near how rattled he was after game 4. So I don't know. That's pretty much the biggest piece of controversy from game 3. Is there anything else from game 3 that you wanted to talk about?
I want to ask Jens, and Leon Draisaitl was asked about it after game 3. Was that a play that you guys had drawn up? He's like, something like, I'm going to keep that to myself. But Bouchard walks in the zone, drops it. Obviously, they had realized there's that open area in the middle, and he keeps going to the net and just a tap-in pass. Have you ever seen a play like that? Ever talked about a play like that on the power play where the D-man just keeps going?
Oh yeah, all the time. We used to do it too. We'd have even on the drop pass, sometimes that D-man can get lost. You can hit him back with it for a breakaway. But I think for them, it's just seeing, and they didn't want to use it too early. I think they waited for the right time to use it. They needed a goal. It was late in the game. I thought it was a great play. Obviously, something they had been either talking about or working on. But anytime you put that crew on a power play with a chance to win the game with, under 10 minutes left in the game, it's not fun being out there on the PK. But I think that that challenge has scared them. It scared them last game.
Yes,
for making a couple challenges, and I think it even scared Edmonton too. Edmonton too with the Fogle goal pushing. Yeah, tough challenge there, especially. I think Biz, you made a great point. It's like, trust your team. Trust what you've been doing, the series of playing well, being good response team after a goal. And like you said, giving them an opportunity, because at that point it's a 50-50 shot if you're going to get if it's going to get reversed or not. But it's 100% you're getting on the PK if you don't get it. So it's a tough tough review, and yeah, it's probably on the video coach's head.
They reverse those calls maybe 10-15% of the time. Like that's I don't know if we're able to pull up the video. Like I don't know if we're legally allowed to do that. That Army said where he thought that Kane in one case when he took a whack at it might have pushed the pad. If we're not, I'm sure most of you have seen it online. But going back to what I said, the no goal in game one was, I believe, 49 seconds after that Edmonton had tied it up. And then the Moore one, the one-hander on Picard. Now, Whit, were you shocked at the fact that they went back to Picard, given the fact that like he doesn't typically start back-to-back games? I didn't think he was very strong in game 3. And then he ends up letting in a few squeakers. Like, what is your thought there on going back to him?
My thought is, even though we're tied 2-2, I can't believe in year 10 of Connor McDavid, the two goalies are Stuart Skinner and Calvin Picard. It's actually, like, oh my God. Like, but you know, you dance with who you brought to the dance. I just butchered that saying, but it's where we're at. I thought for sure Skinner was coming back game 4. Last year when they put Picard in against Van, I believe he did start the next game as well, or maybe he only started one. There's just so much hockey in my brain right now. I can't remember, but I was surprised. But let's get to the crux of why LA is tied 2-2.
Oh, buddy. They are. I was going to say, Merle's calls them the fraud squad. They're not the fraud squad. They're the choke squad. That was a full-fledged choke job.
Yeah.
Them sitting back the way they did in the third period was an absolute travesty, Whit. That was a travesty.
It's partly that they're completely changing their game in the third period, which makes no sense because you want to go to the beginning of game 4. Dude, Kevin Fiala, as you said, Biz, might be on the gas. He came out. I was like, what the now typical Oilers in the beginning of these games, the first 2 periods, they're getting dominated in the second period. They're playing phenomenal in the third in all the games, but first shift of the game, Wallman pinches down, no back checker, no third man high, 2-on-1. Fiala misses a wide open net. He then hits the post on the power play. They're all over the Oilers. They're playing like not run and gun at all. They're just chipping it in. They have a third, fourth guy high every time. You see McJesus flying to the neutral zone, but like there's just so many layers he has to get through. He can't do it. And then they get to the third period, and like you said, they sit back. Now, here's the argument some Kings fans are making. They're playing 9 forwards and 4D, okay? So they're exhausted, right? And they have these 9 forwards they're playing.
So is Edmonton, though.
Yeah, very. I mean, I think they sprinkle in a little bit more, at least on the D side. But, like, by the end of these games, these guys are – and you get into overtime. I mean, these guys are gassed. And the reffing last night on both sides, there was complaints everywhere. I mean, I think at the end of the game, before they tied it up, there was kind of 2 plays on McDavid that they didn't call. One was a trip. Perry blatantly trips Gavrikov before they tie it up. No call there. And some people hate the call on McDavid in overtime. It's kind of like
I thought it was soft.
I thought it was a little bit soft with 2 minutes left in the first overtime. But guess what? We'll take it. We'll take it because that's the thing that I'm saying. Everyone, the complaining about the refs, I think has gone nuclear this playoff. Maybe I'm forgetting that it's like this every playoff, but when your team gets a nice little call that goes their way, it's the best feeling in the world. And I don't care what you say. Every fan base will take a call that might be soft that goes their way. Well, we took advantage of it, but LA needs to figure out. And now we could show the clip of Hiller after the game where I think he knows why did we stop playing the way we did in the first and second.
Well, you're the fucking coach. What do you mean?
Let's play it.
How do you change your approach in the third period to better close out games?
How do I change it? Next question, please. We're that far away on the empty net. Q chips that one out. Bouchard makes a good play. We're not even talking about this. So how about that?
Sentiment in the room was that the first 40 minutes.
That's your favorite question too, by the way.
Happened 3 times.
Maybe you got some ideas for me.
That
what do you
shows
hey,
right there.
He needs some ideas.
The emotion of the play. He is so angry. You know the meme of the guy who with the smile, but the anger behind him.
What do you mean we're not talking about this? Edmonton had 113 shot attempts. By the end of the third period, bro, they had 3 forwards on the blue line and their 2D hanging out at the tops of the circles in their own zone, allowing Edmonton free zone entries. Like, what the fuck are we even talking about here? Like, did you see the question I asked Leon after the game? Or excuse me, I think Liam asked him the question, but Leon ended up answering where he's like, they always hang back. Like rolling his eyes, essentially saying that that's the way they play. But the way that they play is normally their F1 forward is in the middle of the ice and he's hanging out probably around the blue line where they're trying to filter him towards the one side of the red line, not allowing them to go east to west, where at least at one point they're dumping it way before they get to the blue line. So at least your D-men have an opportunity to go back, make a play, break the puck out. They're not breathing down your neck nearly as much because a few guys are at least getting stopped up by the blue line because they're waiting for that dump to go in. We showed a clip of how they normally do it through the first couple periods. And then as that third period went on, they literally just kept backing up more and more and more. Jans, we used to do a drill with Tip where the 5 defenders would literally just be stagnant in the defensive zone.
Yep.
And they would allow the puck carrier to just walk in the zone. And then it's like, okay, we're practicing D zone. That's literally what they did. It's like Hiller went in the locker room after the second period and was like, hey, boys, we're going to practice D-zone for the next 20 minutes.
Tip and drill.
We're doing the tip drill.
and Biz, now he brings up like, hey, Byfield has the game on his stick. I believe Gavrikov first just did miss the empty net. And yes, Byfield's play, like that's a young player, man. It's an enormous mistake. The steps he's made, how good he's been in this series, like you feel for him. I feel sick to my stomach for him. You feel for him because literally he chips it off the wall, he skates by Bouchard and he buries it. But you can't say like we were right there with Byfield in the empty net because the first 18 minutes, even before that, you were on your heels. Like that wasn't the reporter's question. I also loved, I think the reporter like tweeted out after, like, you guys like that question, just living it up, just so happy with himself. You could tell the guy would strangle.
Well, you know who asked it? The Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator's son.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
He got his number through the NHL registry. But Byfield's play, God, man, that's just that's just knowing the time of the game, what the game. It's so and he's looking back. He's probably thinking like, what the hell was I thinking? But what a play by Bouchard, and that can lead me into the discussion of Evan Bouchard. I don't think I've ever seen a roller coaster type defenseman like this guy. Like he makes, I mean, the third goal by LA, he just like double pumps it, clutches it, loses it. They go down the other way. Fiala makes an incredible play. Boom, 3-1. You're like, we're in one. No team has come back from down 2 goals in the playoffs yet. What does Bouchard do? He gets the 2 tying goals. And offensively, he is incredible. He has a cannon, boosh bomb, and he can find guys. He moves well. But then in his own zone sometimes, it's so insane to watch. That's why Oilers fans, like his contract, what do you give him? I mean, there was a point in the game after it went 3-1 LA, Oilers fans are like, trade him for a bag of pucks. And now they're talking about 10.5 a year for 8 years. The guy, it's insane watching him. It's unbelievable. But he has come up in big moments. And G sent me a tweet. He right now is second all time in points per game by a defenseman in the NHL, in the history of the NHL, besides Bobby Orr.
Wow.
Right
in playoffs?
Yes.
I mean, a lot to do with power play. Like their power play last year was a joke. They went, but holy shit, that's unbelievable. But the thing is that go back and look at every single goal that Edmonton scored yesterday. You'll see one thing that's the exact same in every single goal.
Corey Perry in front.
40-year-old Corey Perry standing in front of the net. Why is the oldest guy on the team doing this for your team, Whit? He can't be the only guy to do it.
No, he lives to do it. He lives to do it. That goal, hitting it to yourself out of midair with a guy draped all over you and then knocking it in. What a beautiful play. Just incredible to see his hand-eye. I mean, he's playing with McDavid and Leon out there. Like they're probably like, get up here, buddy. Come on, we'll wait for you. Come on. Oh, there you go. Get in front of the net. We're good to go now. It's wild. And it's just been such a crazy series that now just win a game on the road. LA, I mean, yes, they played incredible for most of games 3 and 4. They stink on the road. That's just a fact. Look at the wins and losses. They can't win on the road. We go back to LA. We grab game 5, and this could be one of the most shocking series wins I've ever seen. A lot of hockey to be played, but also let's talk about Nurse. It's been interesting to say the least. He's been on the ice, I think, for 13 of 19 goals against. The goal last night, I believe LA's second goal, he just rimmed, like, nobody's on him a lot of times.
Nobody's there.
Just rimming it around the boards. Like, the announcers are like, God, he has time to make a play. And I seriously think it's a confidence thing with him. When he's going, he's making plays, he's moving his feet. And then when he starts feeling the pressure and the heat and know that he's struggling with the puck, he gets it, and it's just panic time. And you see some of them turn into brutal giveaways. So who knows what's going to happen in LA. But
you know how they do the jersey swaps after games, like the soccer players?
Yeah.
Him and Ekholm should be part of the first ever contract swap this offseason. They should do a press conference and do a contract swap, because you could tell how bad they're missing him, like the way that thing's going. I was going to throw it over to Jans, though. Like, the thing too about the way that LA's playing in that third period, like, you go into overtime, like, it's so hard to make that mental switch. Like, you can't just now go back to playing like you were in the first and the second, because you've already been backing up and you've been on your heels. So your mind's in, okay, let's play defense mode. So you saw in the overtime, they just had it taken to them. I think they might have had like one shift of sustained pressure in the offensive zone, LA. So, like, that's the thing too, is like, you're playing not to lose, and then it's tied up. And then it's like, what are you going to say as Hiller now? Hey boys, let's get aggressive and let's go. It's like, why didn't we fucking do that in the third period? Like, to me as a coach, I'd much rather lose playing aggressive, go. I'm not talking about dipping in and pinching and giving up odd man rushes. I'm talking about sending in a forechecker and having a responsible F2 and F3 and playing with layers and closing guys off and having good gaps and good back pressure, not just sitting back. And like, and listen, mind you, I'm not blaming these guys. I'm just like curious, like, the conversations on the bench when you're having these TV timeouts, like, is Anze Kopitar and Doughty saying, hey boys, like, hey, listen, like, I get that we play a little bit more structured and we tend to hang back a little bit, but this is getting obnoxious. Let's try to be a little bit more aggressive. So, like,
this is last year's Kings that they hated playing like. Remember they were talking about before Hiller came in?
Yeah. So it's just like they're going back to their old ways and playing not to lose. And Whit, you're like, okay, we're going back to LA where, listen, they had the best home record in the league. They also had the worst away record in the Western Conference. So I don't know if they can recover from this. Like, if I was a betting man, like, I would probably say that I think that Edmonton has all the momentum and they're going to win this series. Like, I think that LA is shook, and I'm really interested to see how Byfield's able to recover from this. He's such a young guy. That's such a monumental mistake. Like, from a mental standpoint, like, I hope they're able to recover and he's able to recover. But I'll tell you what, they better have sent those Korean ladies to the spa for a mani-pedi back massage, massage they wanted, because they're going to need those fucking harmonicas come Tuesday. That's the only thing that could save them.
I smashed my harmonica off that wall in Boca Raton as hard. It was a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. It's done. They're done. My final two things in the series. Going into that game, in the last 21 times these teams have played in the playoffs, the team who scored first was 19-2. Crazy, because, you know, you can get a lead in this series and boom, but somehow LA cannot figure out how to play on the road at the end of games. Now, my final thought before we bring in our very special guest.
I got two last quick final thoughts too.
You gotta go back to Skinner, but it's a house of horrors for him. That's why I wanted him back in game 4. Get the home crowd behind him, get the confidence. Like, he's going back into the Dragon's lair.
Nope. You're wrong,
so you're going
buddy.
Picard again?
Buddy, who did Connor McDavid go hug as soon as they won that game last night?
I didn't see.
He didn't go to Leon. He went all the way down to the other side and hugged Picard. And the fact that they went back to him in game 4, although he wasn't spectacular, the Skinner has already played the 2 games at crypto.com. I think now you have to go back to Picard. You have to.
And then if you lose, you go to Skinner game 6 at home.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
I mean, if you remember, Picard went in and scored. They scored 20 seconds later on. And Kempe, this Kempe guy, his release and him skating down the wing and pulling it into his feet while going 20 miles an hour, ringing one off the crossbar. He is an unbelievable player. Like, I can't get over watching that guy, how good he is. Now we're going to bring on.
Well, can I bring up my 2 points? You mentioned that no team at that point, until I mushed on Twitter, had come back from a 2-goal deficit in these playoffs to win a game. It was 25-0 teams that were up 2 goals to close out. Obviously, Edmonton being the first. And shocked that these playoffs, now Alexander Ovechkin and Leon Draisaitl have scored their first overtime winners in Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, that was a shocking stat to me, that the fact that those two guys hadn't scored an OT winner, given how much playoff hockey they'd played. So congrats to Leon. It was great having him on after the game. He did chirp my salad, but how does he look that good after playing a game?
He's a stallion.
He's
an Edmonton Oiler.
And
he's
we're bringing
an Edmonton
on
Oiler for the next 8 years, too.
Did you sacrifice your hairline for him as a fan? Is that what happened?
Oh, my God, buddy. I'd sacrifice. I'm not going to say anything. That sounds a little odd. But his hair. I mean, we did an ad for Sports Clips. And I was saying, like, best hair in the league. Leon, by far, easily. But I want to get to our – do you have another point?
Nope, that was at 25.
I want to get to a special guest, a great friend of the show. But before we get to him, we got to talk about Noble, guys. Noble shoes. Oh, my God. Noble is a footwear brand for training and for daily life, built to support you in your pursuit of physical, mental, and emotional strength. Look at those things. Look at those things, G. The Noble Outwork shoe. It's incredible. It's strong. It's comfy. It's easy to put on, and they are wonderful. You can work out in them. You can go walk in them. You can do anything you want in them. No Bull celebrates a no bullshit approach to wellness. With options across training and lifestyle, No Bull has options for everyone. This is the one I'm rocking right now. Boom! I love it. The Outwork shoe. Exclusively for Spittin Chiclets listeners, No Bull is offering 30% off your order. Visit www.nobullproject.com/chiclets for 30% off your entire order. That's www.nobullproject.com/chiclets for 30% off. And that brings in our No Bull friend of the program.
Who? Now!
Hayesy. Kevin Hayes.
What's up, guys? What's up,
Kevin Hayes, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah,
you don't have a coach right now.
Nasty.
Thanks, guy.
Oh, you like
it?
I just trimmed her.
Yeah, you look good.
Hazy,
Thanks, bro. You too.
What's
Way to
going
bring
on,
the
buddy?
energy, Hazy.
Do you remember playoffs being this crazy? The playoffs you've played in, the playoffs you've watched from home. What do you think so far?
No, these ones are absolutely insane. I feel like there's only really one sleeper one, but it got a double overtime win, so that kind of adds to the craziness. But every West series is bananas. It's insane. Like, we were texting with V's last night. I was dead asleep, but I woke up and watched the condensed game of the Oilers. That game was wild. Like,
it's the Oilers. It's a roller coaster. That's how we live.
It's insane. And McDavid's just unstoppable. But
like, Hazy, as a player still playing in this, like, we see LA last night, they just go completely back, playing, defense at the far blue line. Yeah. As a player, how much do you want to just, live by the sword, die by the sword? We've been playing fast all series. We've been getting on the hunt. Yeah, you got to make simple plays and chip pucks in instead of trying to carry the puck in. But sitting back, like, as a player, that it's not fun to even do that, right?
No, it's not fun at all. But, like, even when you're not playing players like Leon and Connor and you're up in the third period, you just think, like, okay, don't fuck this up. Don't turn it over. A, you're not going to play anymore for the rest of the game. And B, you don't want to give them any momentum. You're like, let's just rely on our defense. But then when you do it against those guys and they have all that room, yeah, I mean, it's obviously the reason why they lost. But it's definitely no fun. But I think it's just, like, in the back of everyone's mind, like, all right, we have this win. We're up 2 goals. It's the third period. We can go up 3-1. Like, let's not make any mistakes. And then bang.
It's crazy how kind of mental the game can be, because you would think we've dominated the play.
I know,
as
but
we've played our game. But
I agree, but, like, it's just so, like, it's so easy to be like, hey, let's not screw up. Let's not go for a 2-on-1 and all of a sudden we turn it over. Let's just play defense, which is, like, the start of the downfall of the game. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
it's easy to say it now from us, but like it's so hard when you're playing those two guys to be like, all right, I'm going to try to match them offensively. You just can't do it. Like,
All right. Well, we did talk about that series a long time, so we're gonna go over to probably the because Montreal's involved too, the craziest game 3 in quite some time. Hockey is alive in the playoffs at the Bell Center. The Bell Center's back, Biz, and it did not disappoint. We'll get into game 4, but first off, take us into game 3, Biz. What you thought, the fight on the bench, the best meme I think we'll ever get from Tom Wilson, the crying meme, and just an incredible win by Montreal when it looked like they were dead too.
He's not the gift that keeps on giving. He's the gift that keeps on giving. It's just like,
Nice.
remember how he had the one where he was flexing in the penalty box?
Yes.
Like,
No,
this is
I think
incredible.
He's doing this one.
And the fact that Dolbish was complaining after game 4 about the hit, and then everybody obviously is hitting them with this meme. And let's not forget, like, this all started with Anderson in game 2. Well, I guess Wilson and Anderson have even more of a history. They fought twice before. Anderson ended up giving Wilson a cross check where I felt that Wilson sold it a little bit in game 2. And I would imagine there was a lot of chirping going on over that, which then spilled over to warm up, where Wi-Fi and Wilson were chirping, like even Ovi was getting in the mix on that. McElrath, who took warm-up, was getting in the mix. So tensions were building at the Bell Center, and obviously it spilled over, and then the goalies go down, which was even crazier. So both goalies in the same game in game 3 get injured. And then between the second and third, after the second ended, I don't know if somebody said something to Dobish where Savard came over, and that kind of started that whole pile up. And then obviously Anderson and Wilson having the history that they did going back to game 2, they end up linking up and then somehow end up on the fucking bench scrapping. Like, look at this at the fucking Bell Center. This is a goddamn, this is like we took a fucking hot tub time machine back to the 70s. The only thing missing was a Milbury shoe. That's all that was missing here. Look at the referee. This guy is not getting paid enough. They're having a reverse 69 on the bench to try to stop this guy from scrapping. And all these guys are going on the fucking ice. It was a scene, dude. It was incredible. Amazing game. Very happy that the Habs got back in the series and were able to pull off a victory. I think that they've been very impressive. But if we fast forward to game 4, boys, that hit by Tom Wilson.
Oh my God.
Was a series changing.
Oh my God.
Biz, why don't you read or say what your tweet was, if you can remember off the top of your head? People were fuming.
I said, if you think that hit that Wilson gave to Carrier was dirty, you're a fucking clown, and you need to stop watching playoff hockey. People, head was the first point of contact. Bitch, his fucking knees were bent, and he drove through his fucking body. Arm in. When a guy is skating, his head, the way that the fucking knee flexion is and the way that his torso's like this, your head's going to be the first point of contact. There's nowhere else to go if you're driving through the middle of his body. That's a clean hit. That's a clean hit. He ends up getting dummied. He was late getting off the ice because Carrier was so shook. It ends up going all the way to the Capitals' end. Van Riemsdyk sends it over to Chychrun. It was a scrambly play because I think everybody was like, is this guy dead? And then Wilson's going for a change. New bodies coming on the ice. And Chychrun's got no option. So he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to go a Pat McAfee punt here. He sends it into oblivion. And then all of a sudden, Matheson's dealing with that grenade. And Duhaime just gets shot out of a cannon. As a defenseman, that is the biggest nightmare dealing with that type of grenade. It's panic mode. It was the perfect flip by Chychrun, and Duhaime gets it, and it's just a brutal bounce for Caulfield. It goes right off his glove. Great net drive off the change. Like I just mentioned, like Tom Wilson delivers that hit at the end of his shift. He goes to the bench. They get new bodies on the ice, both Dowd and I believe who was the other guy on that line. It might have been Mangiapane or somebody. They both drive the net, and Caulfield's got to go with them, and that's the reason that the puck's in the net. So incredible line change, and then you see the jubilation from Ovi and Wilson on the bench. Like, So, like I said, you
right
go
where
from
he was fighting in game 3, same spot on the bench.
Exactly. Same fucking exact spot. So you go from being down a goal to delivering that hit, completely changing the momentum, and then they score a few more shifts later, and it's all of a sudden a 3-1 series. It goes from being 2-2 series to 3-1 on the change of a hit.
And I got a question for Hayesy, but I want to kind of preface it with there are little moments in series that can change the entire outcome of everything. And in my mind, the series changed when Montreal killed that 5-on-3 against. A long 5-on-3. Dobish made the incredible save on the side. All of a sudden, Montreal, they end up getting the lead. I'm like, holy shit, like that's how you win a game. That's how you end up changing a series, killing a 5-on-3 against this power play. But no, Tom Wilson, he flipped it on its head again with that hit. And I want to ask Hayesy, playing in the league now, how aware is your entire team when he's on the ice? Like, you have to be talking about it.
Yes, 100%. Especially if someone on our team hits him good early in the game, he's you know what I mean? He's kind of like
sleep.
He's like a Luch. Remember Luch? If you didn't touch Luch, he wasn't that bad. But if you hit him in the first, he wanted you dead. One time I played against Luch, and I was on a PK, and I like ragged the puck for like 50 seconds. Then I iced it, and he hit me probably 22 seconds late. And was like, if you ever do that again, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I was like, okay, I won't. But no, when Willie's out there, he's an absolute menace. Like, he's one of the biggest guys in the league, and when he's skating full speed like that carry, like, as they come out, is he gonna play?
No, he's dead. His soul left his body when he hit him. I mean,
he stayed on the bench, and then I think there was a spotter that like grabbed like a cane from an old woman at the fountain and literally hooked him off with it. Like,
that was insane.
I felt bad, and you know what? He's a big loss for the Canadians. They brought him over. He plays solid minutes. He's pretty physical. Yeah. But my thing is, and you feel horrible seeing a guy get hit like that.
Yeah,
dude, he didn't pick his head up for
no.
I don't know, 3 seconds.
No, because it was kind of like the puck squirted out behind the original play, right? And he kind of came in with momentum, and then Wilson was skating full speed too. Oh, so bad.
It's horrifying. And the greatest camera angle switch of all time in broadcasting. It was like the guy knew. The cameraman up near the glass is screaming, Wilson's coming. And then right as Carrier gets it, they go down to ice level and you see a murder. And I don't want to see a murder. I'm not watching a murder mystery sci-fi film. I'm watching a hockey game and the guy's dead. So Tom Wilson changed the entire series. He changed the outlook of everything. And he talked after the game with you, Biz. He made an interesting point that a couple years ago when I'm younger, like, this is the type of game where, and I'm completely paraphrasing what he said, but I end up taking penalties, or I would have.
Well, he drew the one on Anderson in the corner, right? So he almost hated him. And after all the fiasco from game 3, I felt like that at that point for the Washington Capitals, it was unnecessary. I thought that whole ordeal was actually in Montreal's favor. And I felt that Tom Wilson came a little bit unhinged, especially at the fact that like he's wasting all that energy and warm up with Wi-Fi. Like, listen, I love Wi-Fi. I think he's a valuable asset. I think he's a great number 6 on any NHL team, but like, he's obviously way more of an impactful player than Wi-Fi Wilson. So the fact that he's wasting that energy and getting baited into that stuff. So Carberry had a talk with him after game 3. And he's like, hey man, like you got to toe the line way better. And credit to Wilson for being receptive to that constructive criticism, because he did change his game in game 4 and was the impactful player that we all expect Tom Wilson to be. And it was insane. And I know we've been very complimentary of Washington and everything they did. Shocked that Logan Thompson even played after seeing the way that he left the ice. Like, I thought he was going to have to get his leg amputated the way that he left. But switching over to Montreal, guys, like I still think Washington is going to win the series. But the experience that Montreal is gaining for this team, the youngest team to make playoffs in a very, very long time, like that power play that helped them get the lead in that game with Demigod, as Anson likes to call him. Like everyone on that power play, Suzuki's 25 years old, and everyone's younger than that. You got Caulfield, who I believe is 24. Lane Hudson, who has been absolutely incredible in this series. Like that read on that one pinch in the game before where he ended up setting up, I believe that was Caulfield, or maybe it was even in that game. But just the play that Demigod makes when he gets it over from Hudson. That toe drag he makes and then goes around the net to give it to Slavkovsky, who did the little shimmy shake on the zone entry. It's beautiful to watch. The future's bright. I know we say that all the time, but they have really been pushing the pace, and I've been very, very impressed. And they've exceeded my expectations as to what they were going to bring come playoff time.
I got a question for Hayesy or all you guys, whoever wants it. Everyone talks about, guys playing banged up in playoffs, but you never really talk about the goalies playing banged up. And then Thompson last game, I thought he was way more hurt than Monty was.
He couldn't put weight on it.
I know, yeah.
What
and
happened?
if he comes out and plays, you think that has the jolt of energy to his team and, excited to play in front of him, like, hey, this guy's giving it for us tonight. Let's give it for him. And then on the other end, it's Monty doesn't play and Dobish, this isn't the guy that, you can really win a series with, especially against a team like Washington. So I don't know. I was just curious, like with the whole goaltenders playing through injury. I know groins are tough for goalies, but you think that helped out Washington at all, Hayesy?
I feel like the vibes are so high in Wash, right? Like you see all these videos and stuff. It's actually funny that my goalie in college is their e-bug, and he travels with the team sometimes, Parker Milner. And I was texting him because I was just in South Carolina, and he is like a food critic there. And he was saying, dude, I want to go back and travel with them all playoffs because the vibes are so high. And then remember when Thompson didn't make the Canadian team, and the rumor came out that he's a bad teammate, and no one wanted.
They didn't want anything to do with him. Apparently,
exactly. And I think when he does that, he goes off and he's hurt and he comes back. I think it does send a message to the team like, hey, I'm here with you guys. Like, I'm ready to battle for you guys. Let's win this whole thing.
G makes a good point in the chat here. Think about what happened to him in Vegas. He was an all-star. He got hurt, lost his job to Aiden Hill, and they go on to win the cup. And maybe there's a part of him like, I'm not losing my job again. It's not going to happen again. It was just weird, because the way he went off, you thought he was done for the playoffs. The no weight thing. You brought up the e-bug. Your buddy who's done the e-bug kind of reminded me of Game 3. Can we please get the picture of the Shea Paris bouncer that they brought in?
You're telling me that guy
he's actually a Shea Paris bouncer?
No, he's that picture. The picture of him face on.
Is that all right?
He's a
got
cop.
A goatee.
He's a cop, I guess, but he looked straight out of Shea Paris, dragging people out in chokeholds when they try touching the women too much. And it was just, and apparently, now I don't know if this is true. Apparently, once the pictures of him on the bench came out, they were like, hey, get off the bench. Get off the bench, go in the locker room. And he went to go in the Habs locker. They're like, no. Go to another locker room.
Oh, come on. You got pigeon tossed?
I think just when he's coming down the tunnel with the goatee and the shaved head, looks like he's the size of Aiden Hill too. Yeah, he might as well have had a cigarette.
He put out
Incredible
his cigarette. He just ashed it on his head and then went out.
My other favorite clip of this series in the crowd was after Mangiapane scored the go-ahead goal in Game 4. They before commercial, they panned to a guy. He had a long perm, bald up top, but long on the sides. And he had a Canadiens jersey on, and he had a breathe right on. He was rocking a breathe right. It was incredible. I said, this is so Montreal. I want every game to be at the Bell Center. The other part of the Mangiapane goal that was tough, and it sucks that this happened to Caden Goulet because that guy is a stud.
Yeah,
stud.
Special player.
16th overall pick. Next year starts a 6-year deal at 5.5.
Ooh,
I mean,
steal.
that might end up being one of the top defensive contracts in the NHL. The kid hammers people, skates like the wind, not super offensive, but can add in some offense. Just a solid, true top pair D-man. But he comes over the line, or Strome comes over the line. It's kind of a 2-on-2, cuts to the left, and it should just be a switch, right? Defensemen calling each other off. He follows him across. Mangiapane cuts across, and he drops it to him. He's kind of all alone for that split second. Tough mistake there, but
Bones touched on that. That was the one off. I believe it was Van Riemsdyk behind the net, and Montreal, they haven't been putting a forward up by the net to make sure that defenseman, when he comes out and passes it, he's not on his forehand. So they need to put a guy to prevent the defenseman from coming out of his forehand, because about 3-4 times in that period, the defenseman would just come out from behind the net and zip it up like to center ice. And in that case, Stromer was right there all by himself. And then everyone seemed to kind of close in on him. And then that's how the whole play developed. So a tough setup on their set forecheck. But yeah, boys, Washington looks great. And like you said, Hayesy, just the mojo that they're playing with right now, they just seem to have it. And also for how many guys they brought in this year, from like in the off season and even at the deadline, it just seems like they're kind of, they're like a bunch of misfits, right? They're all coming there to like refine their identity and get back to where they think they could play in the National Hockey League. Like another guy that sticks out who keeps on playing well is every game he's noticeable, Bolivier.
Yeah,
like that's right. Like what was he like as a teammate? He's a gamer right now.
He's unreal. He's so skilled too. Like he started our season on Sid's line. I don't think he was expecting to be on the first line, but we had an injury, and he absolutely ripped it up to start. And then he plays in any part of the lineup, up and down the lineup, power play if he has to. He's been a power play guy his whole career. I don't think he really was at all this year. He wasn't really in Pittsburgh, and then they're not mixing up Washington's power play. But yeah, he's nasty, and he's the only player to ever assist on an Ovechkin and Crosby goal in the same year.
What?
Wow, that little nugget from Hayesy. Stack guy Hayesy. Move over with
that one.
Yeah, and he's the absolute man too.
All right, well, we'll see what happens.
Who's the only player to ever play with Crosby, or not Crosby, Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky? Mike Knuble.
Oh,
I thought there's a Merle stat. Oh, Merle's played with what's Merle's stat about? Coached by Gretzky, played with Crosby, and he's got something else in there too. He's building his house right now. He's legit in a ditch pouring concrete. Poor guy can't even watch the show. We'll see what happens. Game 5. Can Montreal drag it back? I'd love one more at the Bell Center.
We need one more at the Bell Center.
Need one more of that. But let's bring it over back to the West. And oh my God, is Winnipeg and their fans in one right now, guys. The Jets fans are big mad. They're confused. They're sad. They don't understand what's going on. And I can speak for them as neither do I. I don't get what has happened to Connor Hellebuck in the playoffs. It's kind of crazy to witness. I mean, the Jets, they give up 7 in game 3. They give up 5 in game 4. They're going back. They could have easily lost one of the games at home, too. I mean, game 1, think back. St. Louis is in control going to the 3rd.
Louis is nice.
All right, so Hayesy, you played for both these teams. What are you seeing?
I think St. Louis, like I said with Washington, they have some serious mojo right now. Like, what was it you, Biz, who asked about Jobu to Thermi?
We've been asking everybody, but they won't say a word.
Right? He won't say a word. That is so funny. I mean, I don't even know anything either about it, to be honest. I would assume Binner brought it into the locker room, but that's just a total
speculation.
Okay, that's what we're gonna run with, though. This is a Binnington
thing. They'll probably text me like you're a fucking idiot, but dude, they just have the mojo. Like they bring Monty over. They had an unbelievable start with Monty. Then they were horrible. Like I remember, I went to dinner with a bunch of them before we played them. And they were like, yeah, if we lose this game tomorrow to you guys, our season's over. We beat them like 6-1, I think, 6-2. And then they won 13 straight. What was the thing?
12. They won 12 in a row.
After that, now won 14 in a row at home.
At home. I don't know. Have you guys been to a game there?
Chris Pronger said it was the loudest game he's ever heard there.
We all played in the NHL, Kevin.
Oh, that's true, actually.
We've all been to a game there.
Yeah, that's very
That was
true.
a Biz comment.
But were they always this good?
I never played them in the playoffs or anything. But I remember the play because they do that what is it, like the bell for every goal they score?
Yeah.
And then it gets going then.
Towel man does the towel toss.
But like it's more about, to me, and yes, St. Louis has been great, but Biz, you tweeted it. You're going Comrie game 5.
No, I was a little excited after the game. I think that it's obvious that Hellebuck is just not the same goalie in playoffs. You also have to put the blame on the guys in front of them because they also turn into a pumpkin where you saw like Morrissey loses his guy net front. Then all of a sudden crossbody screen from him. You see Hellebuck look over like, what the fuck's going on? You got the hoop goal from Pionk. Like they don't look like the same team in front of him, but he's also not giving them those big saves that he provides in the regular season. Like you can't tell me that they're perfectly defensively all the time in the season where he doesn't make a big one to like stop the bleeding. That's not happening. The numbers are the numbers. Like, look at what we're seeing here. This is on the fucking, like, look at this.
I mean,
like,
that's,
this is some of
that's
the,
game 3 and 4, but game 1 and 2 wasn't much better.
we're talking about a guy who might win the MVP. He's got the Vezina locked up. That's happening.
I think they announced today. Did they announce today that he won it?
No, I think they announced the top 3. He's definitely going to be involved in it. But considering now they have 2 days off in between games again, which, mind you, that might be also something that's throwing them off. They've had two-day gaps throughout the course of this series. So it's like, fuck, man, like, let's get to playing these games. Let's go here. Let's get in some type of rhythm. So they go back home. He's able to get a few days off. It kind of reminds me of the Bobrovsky situation where they rattled off 3 wins in the Stanley Cup Finals. Then they lose the next 3. You have to imagine with the amount of games that he's played this regular season, like fatigue has to set in at some time. There's a reason why they go the 1A, 1B situation nowadays. There might be a sense of like overload on his work plate right now. So give him a day off. Let him reset. You go back with him game 5. He's earned that right based on what he's done for the organization. He took a team-friendly deal. He's going to be your MVP. Put him back in net. But if we see the same Hellebuck, no way. Game 6, Eric Comrie in net. I've seen enough. And it was kind of weird, man, when he got pulled in the 3rd period. Like Bones said it on the broadcast. He said, don't pull him. Even if they get shelled for 8, don't pull him. It's going to fuck with his confidence.
Because it's 2 in a row, you're saying?
Yeah.
It's 2 in a row. So they score 2 minutes into that 3rd period. They yank him. Hellebuck never came back to the bench. He went down the tunnel, never came back to the bench. I don't know if he's pissed off at the coach. I don't know if he just is like, I want to go to the locker room and fucking take a minute and be by myself, whatever it may be, but not a good sign. I don't think it would be a good thing for the organization to not play him in game 5 because
he's playing. He's playing.
I think he would legit say,
you think if they lose game 5, you don't put the best goalie in the league in the net for game 6?
If he gives up 5 or 6, Hayesy.
Hazy. Come on now, buddy. We're not talking about a small sample size here now, bud. Is there more fucking graphics we can pull up as far as this guy's numbers? The numbers are the numbers. The numbers are the numbers, Hazy. Hey, you don't wipe your face like that.
I gotta block my teeth. I have braces on right now.
Last 9 road playoff games, 1-8, 4.58 goals against, 861 save percentage, pulled in 3 straight road games.
Hazy, if they lose 5-4 at home, are you putting them back in net game 6?
I am, yes. He's gonna win the
Biz, this guy played with him, so it's almost like we can't take his opinion serious right now.
I'm not going to.
But I actually think most Jets fans, and I'd love to see their response. I think they're like, we have to go with him again, though. It's like an MLB star hitter in the playoffs, and he just goes cold at the wrong time. But he's one swing away from hitting.
You know what it's like? It's like your wife cheating on you with the neighbor. It's like your wife cheating on you with the neighbor. You walk in, you catch her, you trust her, you bring her back in, and then she goes and fucks another guy. Cheater.
That's a crazy analogy.
No, it's not. It's not. Once a cheater, always a cheater.
Same neighbor or different neighbor?
Different neighbors.
Jake neighbors.
You got
the neighbors the hottest
block.
guy in
It's
the
a block
neighborhood?
party. It's a block
He's
party.
the hottest guy in the neighborhood, though. Like, he's the best goalie in the league.
No, he's the biggest dump in the neighborhood too. He's always out there with his ass crack showing, cutting the lawn, and you're like, honey,
He's the one making the kids sandwiches, but yet she's still off fucking the neighbors. This guy did it all. Wow. Do you like my analogy, Hazy, or no?
No, not at all. But this series is going 100%.
Okay. Hot take, Hazy.
Would you put Comrie in for game 7, Hazy?
Comrie's an unbelievable, one of the nicest people I've ever met, but I think you got to go with Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And another big thing for Winnipeg,
dick out of
Ehlers
your
is
mouth.
out for the series. Gabe Velarde, I think he skated or was game time decision. It's like, all right, Gabe, we need you back. We need you back in game 5, right? Get him back on that top line. IFL's been good, but you could drop him down. I just am shocked to see Winnipeg once again in one. And now it's way better of a scenario than they were last year against Colorado. But same thing, their goalie, who, as Hayesy mentioned, is the best goalie in the world, can't save the puck. And I wonder how much of the team that gets together and it's like, we have to do what we can to help this guy. We have to block more shots. We have to give up less in our defensive zone. But credit St. Louis, and also them bringing in Snuggerud. Like, you've seen Leonard come in, who was better, I'd say, this year than Snuggerud in college. And he's, granted, Washington's a different team. He's doing a hell of a job on the third line with Mangiapane. But this Snuggerud's playing on the first line. He's scoring goals. He's playing incredible. You get to bring him in. It drops guys down. And St. Louis with Cam Fowler, basically on pace to set a record for most points in a series by a defenseman, is just feeling it. Just as Hayesy mentioned the Capitals were. So
5-point night the other night in game 3 for Cam Fowler. I think it's a franchise record by a defenseman.
I feel like people were like not writing him off, but they were just kind of like push him to the side in Anaheim. He's been the best pickup in the whole NHL for a trade.
All right, Hayesy, we know that you have to go soon, but before you go, we got the last question presented by Roback. Use the code Chiclets on roback.com for a generous 20% off your first purchase through the end of this week. That's CHICLETS on RHOBACK.com. 20% off all hoodies, joggers, and more with code Chiclets. You played in Winnipeg. We've talked many times about the pressure in Canada. Is that a fan base that after the first period, if they're down 1-0, is it going to be similar to Toronto where the crowd gets on them and the crowd gets anxious? Or is that more a city where it's, let's build these guys up. Let's not turn on them right now. They need us.
100%. Let's build these guys up. They're not Leaf fans and Biz fans. That whiteout was the coolest experience I've ever had in my NHL career. And now that they're tied 2-2, they're going back for game 5. That game 5 might be the best game in playoffs, in all the playoffs. It really will be. Kyle Connor will probably score. Hellebuck, hopefully he's good. And then you got my boy Robbie Thomas will probably have a couple points too.
All right, and I did forget.
You should go to it if you like.
We have another question for him.
You said the best experience of your playing career. I would imagine playing with Crosby's up there too. I mean,
oh my God!
Just he ends up breaking the point per game, or no, point per game record for consecutive seasons.
Yeah,
one past Gretzky now. Like, what a fucking guy! What a player! And just like, what was that experience like?
Sid's the absolute man. Like, you hear all these stories when you play against him, like, oh, he's super nice. He's like very genuine. He's nice to everyone. He's like the ultimate professional that I've seen. Like, he makes sure everyone's having a good time. Everyone feels comfortable. He works super hard. He's hilarious. He loves Hutstoven in the training room. Lives for it.
What does he like talking about? Like, what's his like guilty pleasure? Is he does he like the fucking teen mom shit like Jans on the Bravo network?
No. He's more. I think he might be mad at me for saying this, but he's like knows a bunch about birds. So like we'll be like driving on the bus and he'll see a bird and he'll tell me exactly what type of bird it is.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's why I heard he's in Wilkes-Barre practicing with the injured guys, because there's a couple sick birds that only live in the Wilkes-Barre area that he's checking out. He's got binoculars. There's an 87 on the binoculars. It's cool.
That wasn't in Wilkes-Barre. That was in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. Why is he still skating? Because he's that sick?
Maybe Worlds potentially. I don't know.
Well, Hayesy, what about the news that broke today? Mike Sullivan no longer the coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Give me your thoughts on that.
You got another guy fired, eh?
Oh my God, enough. Stop that. No, I mean, it's tough to see Sully go. He's a great coach. Super honest. He demands a lot. But yeah, I mean, I was only there for 1 year. I'm sure you would get better intel from other guys, but Tough to see him go. I'm sure he'll find a job pretty quickly if that's the route he wants to go. But yeah, I mean, it's just tough to see him go, I guess.
Sounds like you may cry. So unfortunately,
Jesus.
Mike Sullivan is gone. Hayesy, thank you
take a
so much.
melatonin?
And biggest news for you, I believe we're counting it down like any day. You're going to be a father.
Yeah.
How's Katya feeling? Are you ready?
I gotta go. Yeah, she feels great. We got a ultrasound today at 12:45. So, yeah, I'm ready. I'm a little nervous, but I'll be texting you two, not you, Biz, for some advice. But
What do you mean, dude?
Well, Biz will be like, keep her away from the neighbor, Jakey neighbors. So you're gonna be an all-time dad. I'm so happy for both you guys, and we appreciate you coming on the show, bud.
Hayesy, you doing a home birth?
No, not like Whit.
It's an apartment
I
birth.
did do most of the work at that.
Hey,
Really
good luck. Good luck.
Hey, good luck. Good luck. Sorry if I look a little stung. I was on a 7-day golf trip.
Oh boy, that must be fun. All right, we'll talk to you later, Hayesy.
Love you, Hayesy.
Love you, buddy. I mean, boys, St. Louis, they're fired up. Winnipeg Jets fans, they're kind of panicking, but we're going back out east now. We're going to the Battle of Florida. And some big-time arguments within the Chiclets group chat. Some big-time, a time to bring it all to a head and talk about what we really think about some vicious hits. Now, what game had been played? No, they're only through 3 games, so we hadn't seen the game 2 or 3. I don't even know where we want to start.
Well, let's go back to the Hagel hit, right?
Okay.
So on the broadcast, I was asked if I thought that Tkachuk should get a game, and I said, well, it makes no difference to me. If he doesn't, I don't care. But if we're going eye for an eye here, I would say based on maliciousness, I would say that I would be okay if they ended up giving Tkachuk a game. Do I compare it to the Hagel hit? Well, no, because Barkov never touched the puck, and Gensel did. But let me remind everybody listening, if Tkachuk would have done what he did to Gensel, to either of these two guys, they would be calling their uncles in Boston to put cement boots on Matthew Tkachuk. They would be livid in the locker. Whit, if Tkachuk hit you like that when there was an empty net after you delivered a pass, Jans, you as well, you guys would be fuming in the locker room. Jans, I think you've even in the last month said like, oh yeah, that guy used to hit guys late. I want him dead. And I'm like, did you not deem that hit by Tkachuk late?
Yeah.
Biz,
But like I said,
go ahead.
Like I said in the group chat, I wouldn't have been in that situation. You know, at the end of the game, your best player just got, his head taken off by a guy. There's going to be some sort of, something going on, especially with Matthew Tkachuk on the team and Sam Bennett on the team. Something's going to happen. You going for an empty net goal, you do not admire your pass. You keep your head up, and you see Matthew Tkachuk coming, and you put your stick out like this to protect yourself. I put the more on Gensel for letting him hit him like that. Matthew, maybe a little late, but I loved it.
So you're basically telling me that he was trying to get retribution for the Barkov situation. He ends up hitting him like, we're not talking like a half a second late. Like it was like a full second late. Changes his course of direction to get him back for the Barkov thing, which I'm fine with.
But he was in front of him the whole time.
Hey, listen, I'm the eye for an eye guy. I'm the guy who would be like, no, just don't suspend him. I'll handle my own business. That's how I like to handle things. But at the end of the day, that's a late. Do I think it was as hard of a hit as Hagel put on Barkov? Absolutely not. But I think it was more premeditated. And let me remind everybody listening too, if Matt Rempe delivered that hit to Sidney Crosby in the regular season, they would send him in that shuttle that they sent the fucking Katy Perry and the crew up, but they'd have it keep going. He would be shot into orbit to never come back to Earth. He would get a minimum 15
He'd
games.
be headshotting an alien.
Exactly. He'd be headshotting an alien. So I get that it's playoff hockey. I'm totally okay with him not being suspended. But my whole point on the Hagel thing was he thought that Barkov touched it.
So that's what you think? That is what you think? Based on his reaction, I do agree with you because he kind of like turned around like, oh, I think he did. I'm with you on that.
I think that everybody could agree that was way more of a hockey play. People say, no, it's not because he didn't touch the puck. Like Barkov is a stick-on puck guy. He's one of the best defensive forwards in the league. He's everywhere. He covers the entire ice. And the way that the angle was going, like Hagel was tracking him the entire time. So if that puck did get turned over and Barkov did strip McDonough, which he's done a million times, he would have just finished his hit. In this case, Gensel wasn't even Tkachuk's guy. He changes his course of direction. And mind you, I would take Tkachuk on my team every day of the week, twice on Sundays. This has nothing to do with any type of personal vendetta towards Tkachuk. And I'm fine with him not getting suspended. But in the case of the game before, you give Hagel a game for that. Barkov's back on this. The only difference is Hagel didn't or Gensel didn't leave the game. He didn't stay down.
No, there's another difference. And that's head contact.
Yeah.
There was a little bit with Hagel, not completely shoulder to head, and there was zero with Tkachuk. And the biggest thing, I read a couple different tweets or whatever about it, like they don't really suspend on interference calls when there is zero head contact. Also, the speed of Hagel compared to Tkachuk was so different, right?
But
so
it was also more of a hockey play. Like I felt like it was a hockey play where the Tkachuk thing, like he knew what he was doing. Matthew Tkachuk is a certain type of player. He knew what he was doing in that situation. Can we agree on that?
I also think he's smart enough player to not hit him as hard as he could, not to hit him high. He hit him right in the chest. It was kind of like he let up a little bit. He was like, hey, I'm here. Don't forget I'm still in this series. I think if he really wanted to hurt him and get a suspension, he could have fucking killed him.
Fair. So what you're saying, he's the perfect amount of dirty.
Yes.
He's
100%.
He's the perfect amount of sluttiness.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's got the tramp stamp. He's got the tongue ring.
Hoop earrings.
Yeah, but he won't.
But when she comes to meet your parents, she can look like, a professional.
Yeah.
Right, but she won't do anal
with the neighbors.
She won't take double penetration. She won't do anal, but she's got the tramp stamp and the tongue ring, and okay, the perfect amount of sluttiness. I got you. That's an analogy.
More to this series. Actually, let's quickly play the incredible, I'm not going to say war of words, but just the mental battle between the coaches in which, do we have the clip? Here we go.
Obviously, a big topic of discussion after this game is the late hit from Tkachuk on Gensel there. Any comments on that? Do you expect any repercussions from the league after what we just saw with Hagel?
The only players we hit are the ones with pucks. So.
Not sure if you had seen it or not, but after the game yesterday, John Cooper got asked about the hit from Chucky.
Yeah,
he
chirped me.
Yeah.
I saw it. I'm at home watching the Senators game, and he chirped me, right? Which I appreciate. I used my own words on me, too. I mean, I'm not sure it was applicable to the events on the ice, but it was still good. Well done.
Does it add to the energy of the series and stuff?
Oh, God, I hope not. Yeah, I don't. My wife had a good chuckle. I think she thought it was pretty funny, and I think the coaches probably, I'll have to take over the chirping at some point. It's kind of a lost art on the bench, so it was all good.
Go ahead.
Just two guys you can tell that respect each other. They respect the game and are having fun. At the end of the day, they both won Stanley Cups. They know what they're doing, and that's the shit like you were talking about earlier, Biz, just adding to the, the drama of this league. But you can tell there's no hatred with those guys. Obviously, their teams hate each other, but they're having fun. They're spreading love to the game. And just imagine sitting there and your wife laughing at you from another coach chirping you. It's unbelievable.
I think
just don't let her visit the neighbors.
No, please, no. I think that Cooper doing that, like just in the coach's room before he went to do the press conference, like he definitely like told the guys, or maybe he didn't, and he just decided like, oh, this is the perfect time to say exactly what he said after the Hagel hit. And I mean, he says it's not applicable. I think it is actually like perfectly applicable. It seemed like it was the perfect time, little joke by Coop. But back to the actual series, after game 2, that might have been the most shocking, like, lack of passion in hockey and offense that I could imagine from Tampa Bay. It was like, what is going on here? Like they had nothing going. Highest scoring team in the league. I know we mentioned that going into game 3, but there was just nothing. And they exploded, and it was all in the backs of Kucherov.
Yeah.
Kucherov had been quiet. That goal that Gensel scored, what was it? The first goal of the game for Tampa?
I think that it ended up going off of Point's leg.
Oh,
so I
okay.
think that Point ended up getting credit for it, but it looked like the play that Kucherov makes to him and the fact that Gensel one touches it to himself through the defender. Like, could we talk about Jake Gensel, Whit? Like
crazy.
He's top 6 all time among goals per game in playoffs, the highest among active players. I think that Draisaitl might have passed him with the OT winner, but I don't know if we had the tweet or the list. But this guy, when it comes to playoffs, he is as clutch as it gets. And listen, people say, oh, he played with Crosby. He went to fucking Carolina and easily fit in and got it done. And then now he's in Tampa doing it. And I get that he gets to play with these fucking other superstars, but he's a superstar in his own right. And when the chips are on the table and when it's playoff hockey, he's won a Stanley Cup. He knows what it takes. He can get the fucking job done. And he's worth every penny. He's a gamer. He looks like he could be a fucking accountant.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even look like a hockey player. We did a post-game interview with him. He looked like he was a $160 soaking wet. But man, oh man. And he is not afraid to go to the hard areas. He's one of those guys, Jens. He's just slippery. He'll get in, get out. Normally avoids contact. Usually it's within a time frame of you can get hit, but
a lot of guys get the opportunity to play with guys like Sid and Cooch. It's how you take advantage of it, and he's done it his whole career. They probably brought him in with like, okay, we'll give this guy 1 or 2 games, see how he does with Sid, and he just rolled with it. So you have to be a special player to play with special players. Not anyone can do it. So you cannot put any ounce of it's all him. He's doing it for himself. He's been a stud since he stepped foot in the league, and I think his dad was a coach, right? So he's been around the game a long time. Such a smart player. Just don't watch your passes.
The Montreal E-Bug strip club bouncer, he looked more like a hockey player than Jake Gensel.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is crazy. He's just like this little guy. Yep. You see him at the office. How was your weekend? Good. Went to church, played around a golf, and then watched a movie with my wife. No, I'm 6th all time in goals per game in the history of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So the other thing, look at this.
Those are the 5 guys that are ahead of him.
Look at those names. Jesus Christ.
That'll actually make up for the Cam Neely press conference. So we don't need to get to that now, but
so back to Kucherov though. The play that on the first goal that Point Up ends up getting credit for. Then you see a very uncommon Bobrovsky blunder on the Nick Paul. It's going wide. It's on the ice. Just a fluke. Hits his pad. Somehow kicks directly through his legs into the net. But then what happens? It's 2-1. Florida had the lead 1-0. 2-1. Tampa keeps pushing. That pass Kucherov made from behind the net to Gensel. It's like I don't even know how he sees him, let alone get it to him, where he's on his backhand. He somehow misses the post, similar to the pass Demidov gave to Slavkovsky on that goal. But Kuch is actually skating the opposite direction. So he's got all his momentum going behind the net and just slides it behind, just misses the post, and Gensel buries. So Kuch reached a different level. I think he knew after game 2, it's like, I got like this team, they go through me, and the way he collected the pass in the neutral zone on that 3rd goal, and then he weaves into the zone. He makes it look so simple, so easy. And now Tampa has life. Now you're still on the road. You got to think Bobrovsky's not going to give up one like he did, but it gives Vasilevsky some confidence. He gets a win. He only gives up 1 goal very early in the game. I mean, Tkachuk scored 2 minutes in. He got 58 minutes after that. Didn't give up anything. I don't know where this goes. I would kind of lean towards it goes back to Tampa 2-2. I know that there was some talk online and me watching the game, kind of disappointment of an atmosphere, not an atmosphere of like a level of play. Even Buchagras tweeted like seemed like a regular season 1 o'clock start snooze fest a little bit. And that's not what Florida needs.
I feel like when either team has gotten the lead, they just are okay kind of just locking it down. Let's not like LA style, but just slowing the pace of the game down, not getting out of position. And going back to the play that Kucherov made, didn't he have a similar play that he made against Florida when they beat them out of playoffs where he caught Uyghur sleeping, where he did that, where he was going this way and ended up throwing it this way behind the net? You know which one I'm talking about? It might have eliminated them like a few years ago on their way to winning a Stanley Cup. So he's pulled that move off before. Also Marner's a guy who likes to do those as well. Yeah, I agree with you. Probably the most boring series from a play perspective.
Yeah.
The Tkachuk hit and the Hagel stuff has amplified it from an attention standpoint. So maybe that adds a lot more fireworks moving forward. I hope that overall the play does ramp up. Been impressed with that. Is it Gabe Gonchavez? Like, I didn't even know who the fuck this guy was. He's been making
Is that
plays
how you
out.
say his name? Gonchavez?
Gonchavez. That's what Jazz told me, the statistician at TNT. Maybe I'm completely butchering it. And but
I really hope he said that just so you'd say
just
it
to
like that way.
completely fuck with me. But hey, another change. Ekblad finally finds his way back after the long suspension. So a little bit of change in personnel for the Florida Panthers. So let's see if in game 4 they recalibrate and get to their old ways. But once again, going back to what we started with, I'm completely fine with no Tkachuk suspension. I just comparing the two, they're similar in a sense where if one deserves a suspension, I think that the other one could have earned a suspension. But here we go. Game
Gensel
on.
hitting his
Let
face
the boys
on the
play.
ice was scary. And last thing, I think, even though Florida loses that game, they outshot them 34-22. So does that get Vasilevsky going, or is Florida like, that's fine? We outplayed them on the shot on the shot metric. Let's see where that one goes. I'm hoping for a little more hatred. I think the entire fan base of the league thought that might be one of the nastiest series. And overall, those two hits withstanding, it's kind of been a little quiet. We'll see what happens in game 4.
I feel like also like for Hague, he's kind of been invisible, no?
Did you see Maurice Jason Voorhees style behind the back curtain, like watching him do a press conference? It looked like he was just like, what's he saying right now? I need this guy to get going. Jesus Christ. Because I have, and all year for Hagee was kind of not.
Yeah, he didn't have a great season.
Freaky,
years prior. So we'll see.
Now he's going to get 2
But
next game.
if he gets hot, watch out, because he's a streaky player, and when he gets hot, he is a scary individual.
Back out west. Story of what is the word? Resiliency. Never giving up. Gabriel Landeskog returns, and then the next game scores a goal. Colorado down 2-1 at home in game 4. They're going to go back to Dallas down 3-1. No, they put on a clinic. Yance said Friday morning, you had seen Cale Makar play for him. What was not a great performance. He showed up. Everyone showed up. And to see Landeskog score a goal, and then to see the clip of the arena, I think it was for about 3 minutes after the goal, on their feet, going crazy. I was so happy for him. And it wasn't a grimy goal in front. It was a snipe off the rush, beautiful drop pass, posting in. Can you imagine the feeling he had? Because he hasn't just come back and been like, oh shit, man, I don't know if I got this anymore. And even there was thoughts of like possibly he would come back and then it could be like one game and he's like, dude, this is my knee's fucked up. No, he looks awesome. He's flying, and to score that goal, it just was one of the coolest things I've seen after interviewing him and hearing what he's gone through, Biz.
Yeah, played just under 15 minutes, and then he gets bumped up to that second line with Brock Nelson, who had to also get going. So a beautiful zone entry, and I think he even said, he goes, that was my first shot on net. And the fact that he was able to get it, and there was no big windup. It was just that little quarter clapper, and boom, top cheese. And surprised from that distance that he was able to score on Ottinger, given how good he was in that second period. Like Ottinger in that second period, that might have been the single best period I've ever seen a goalie play in playoffs. Like he was just stopped. You couldn't beat him. Like
Nate and Makar were buzzing around. He was making saves left and right. It was unbelievable.
But just to see what he's gone through and how much inspiration he's not only provided like other athletes, but just people in general. And also like having the fourth, like what's like the looking ahead thing, like to basically document the foresight to document the whole process in order to share with people. And like, it's just amazing what's happened. And that atmosphere when he came out for the first star. And I think the one amazing thing too, after he scored that goal, you saw the celebration with his teammates. They pan up to the crowd, and there's a guy in a Gabriel Landeskog jersey, and he just grabs his girl who's got a Nathan McKinnon jersey on, and they just start making out. And then they pan back to the ice, and he goes over to the bench, and now he's hugging with Nathan McKinnon, who's helped him out.
He's making out with Nate.
Yeah. But it was just.
Did you guys see Nate get a little like wobbly leg behind the net there when he ran into?
That was a big collision. I was a little worried. I don't know if it was Marchment, maybe. I don't know who it was, but that was a little scary. But overall, that one game, and listen, Dallas might still win the series. Like, you would never count them out. They were down 0-2 to the Vegas Golden Knights last year, but that Colorado team looked like a Stanley Cup champion in that game. Like, that was like, oh, they are just built a little bit different.
Yeah.
They ain't sitting back like LA. They're the complete opposite. They're go, 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 go. And they're a well-oiled machine when they're playing like that. So, but just, I mean, the best story in sports right now, Gabriel Landeskog, and the fact that he's going to make an impact in that lineup, not just playing limited minutes, where he's a second liner now, unreal below the goal line. And even on the one goal, who was parked out front? Right to the blue paint. That's where he can be a horse and make an even bigger impact, Dan. So great to see from our boy Gabe.
Now, I said that the Oilers, like, it seems like they have no business being 2-2. Dallas has led for, I think, a minute of this series. They won game 3 in overtime. They just have not been able to get a lead and play with a lead. So to me, I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado wins game 5 and game 6, because they do look like a better team. They look faster, but somehow Dallas stays alive. Ottinger's very good after a loss in the playoffs. He's going home. Can they kind of figure out their game? But Wyatt Johnson's been quiet. There's a lot of guys in Dallas who haven't appeared in this series yet the way that we thought they would. Does Heiskanen come back? I don't know. You're kind of hearing rumblings, but if he's not in yet, do we see him at all? I'm very interested to see where this series goes, because Colorado's game 4 effort made it look like we have a better team. We know we're better. We've been controlling this series every single game, and we've just kind of thrown it away at different times. But we'll see what happens. I think, what time is that game? Is that the late game?
Dallas needs to stay out of the box. Mason Marchment, it seems like he's taking a penalty every period. Like, when they start getting the momentum and he's taking a penalty, giving the other team momentum, it's like, especially against a team like the Avs, you cannot give them free looks and free opportunities. The penalties in the offensive zone, it can't happen. Like, 200 foot away from your net, it cannot happen, especially against that team. So if they have any chance of winning this series, and they do have a chance, even though, like you said, they've led for 62 seconds this series, they have to stay out of the penalty box. And I love March. You played with him here in Florida, but he's the number one guy that I need to see out of the box.
Yeah, and he was complaining about the one minor that he took on Cale Makar. Cale Makar is on the ground, and he's got like his butt end in his glove, and he gives him the jab in the face, and he's bitching that Makar sold it, where it's like, buddy, like, this is a generational talent, star of the league. You think you just give him the stinky mitt, like, uncontested? And then even after that, when he took the minor, he still took a shot at another guy. I thought they were going to double him up.
Same.
They could have, because the other guy didn't even come over and do much. He was bitching about the call and out of frustration. So agree with you, Jens. I love his game. I love how he mixes it up. I think he's so effective. I just think that he's much like Carberry had a chat with Wilson. I think it's time maybe that DeBoer has a chat with him, saying, buddy, you got to toe that line just a little bit better. If there's one team we can't afford to be on the penalty kill against, it's the fucking high-flying Avalanche. So unreal effort by that Logan O'Connor. They got wheels on that team, man. They move. And I don't really have much else on that series. Blackwood, first NHL career playoff shutout. I thought he's been tremendous so far in this series. So really both goaltenders have stood on their head, and yeah, Ottinger, he's got to be the difference, especially no Heiskanen, and especially Who's the other guy they're missing out of the lineup right now? Robertson. Jesus
Kicking the
Christ.
dick. 9:30 Eastern tonight. Only 2 games tonight, so really could focus in on both.
I like that.
Let's actually, you know what? We'll save it. We got to stay out west, and we got to go.
Why were you going to move to my Leafs?
Nah, but I'm not going there yet. We're going to go to another apology from me. I apologize to the Wild and their fans, and that I needed to be. Was that a fart at the Wild?
That
fans?
was to you for fucking.
You just put your
like...
mic right in your cornhole and.
Oh, now it's
Wild
in
fans.
his mouth.
The Wild had that series 3-1. They've never been up 3-1, and you just farted right in their faces.
You don't think I'll give myself pink eye? You don't think I'll give my? You don't think I'll
Needs
do
a day off. This guy's been working his nuts.
For half the people listening, that's what they think's coming out of my mouth normally is me fucking farting in it.
Listen, I apologize to Minnie. I wrote them off. They stormed back. They're up 2-1. They got a great chance to go up 3-1. They'd never done it. But Vegas, they didn't hear no bell. They didn't. What an incredible overtime, man. It was nuts to see it even get there. Thought Minnesota had that game. Eichel shows up. Barbashev shows up. It was a different Vegas team. Merle's bet's alive. He's got the future. And what did Merle's do? He tweeted out, Vegas is dead. It's over. And boom, it goes to OT. They get the win. And Minnesota, it was right there. They had this series locked and loaded. And now they're going back to Vegas 2-2. Jans, what do you think?
I think Vegas did look dead to rights for a little bit there. It was not good. Their power play looks so stagnant to me. Like when you're a team of that with that much skill and your power play looks that bad, it translates into the 5-on-5 game. And I had kind of written them off. And then, when you have studs like that, it can change, I guess, at any point. And Jack showed up. Jack's ready to go. Stone. So I think for them, it's just playing. They're one of those teams. They have a ton of skill, but when they just play straight ahead, play fast, get pucks in, and then kind of let Jack and a couple other guys do their thing, that's when they're at their best. But they need to play north-south, fast, big, physical, hard hockey because they arguably have probably the biggest, most mobile D in the league, and you just got to let them get back. They can all make that first pass out of the zone, get out of the zone, get up in the play. They don't need the east-west stuff. They don't need, to make it look fancy. Just play hard north-south, and they can get the job done. Let the skill take over on the power play when you have the chances, or in zone when you're working the puck around. But I did not like that. What was it? That game seems like it was 6 months ago, by the way.
It was.
Okay. But it just the east-west stuff through the neutral zone, I don't think it's their game. Just get it in, go to work, and wear teams down. And realistically, they should have won this series, 4-1. I think we all probably had it, maybe going to game 6, but now they're in a dogfight. A lot of credit's got to go to Minnesota as well. They've played an unbelievable series, as good as they could have right now. Kaprizov's insane. But yeah, this will be a fun one tonight, and Vegas needs to really, really show up. They need to spank them tonight is what they need to do.
It's not tonight.
Well, yeah. Well, wait, I think the storyline going into game 4 is how much that Boldy, Kaprizov, and Eriksson Ek line had dominated the Eichel line. Like nobody expected that. I think they expected a battle back and forth, but offensively dominating. Kaprizov 4 goals, Boldy 4 goals, Eriksson Ek the perfect complement to each of them, who does everything. But I think that if you looked at these teams going into the series, you would have said, "Oh, the depth up front, Vegas is going to dominate them." Well, that's not been the case. The bottom 2 lines, if you consider Foligno, who ended up getting bumped up to second live left wing because Johansson came out, they've been incredible. Like that Trennan, Rossi, and Brazeau line on the forecheck, they've created 2 goals just simply off their forecheck, forcing errors, physicality, speed. So I've been very impressed. And you go back to you mentioned the power play early on, Keith, for Vegas. I think all season long, they've really relied on the low plays where they don't really have that bomb up top. Like Theodore, he does throw the sifters through. I think he does have a good shot, but I think he has
Bush bomb.
He doesn't have a Bush bomb, and he's really a pass first mentality. So Minnesota's been taking away all the low plays, and they've been going up high, and then it's just okay, they're not the perfect play. Let's keep moving it around and look back for the low play, where it's like you have to take what you're given. So I don't know what the adjustment's going to be moving forward, but in order to keep clicking at a high rate on the power play, they're going to have somebody up top who wants to shoot the puck. And why wouldn't you with a guy like Mark Stone in front of the net? I believe Theodore, the goal that he did score, Mark Stone was parked out in front of the net.
First of the game.
First of the game.
Went up 1-0.
So they need to get back to that and stop having that pass mentality and be so focused on working the low play. Do they have talent who work like at the goal line area and around the net? Absolutely. But it's clear that Minnesota's aware of that and taking that away. So I thought that I didn't think that Hannafin and Petro were playing bad per se. I think they were dealing with a lot of bad bounces. We talked about that icing in game 3 where it should have been called icing. Like Petro reaches all the way for it and they wave it off. Hannafin does a couple shoulder checks and it was Filino who ended up going to Eichel, disrupting it, goes over to Petro or Hannafin, disrupts it, and then the play continues. Hartman gets involved in the mix, and then they end up scoring a goal. So same with the other Foligno goal, where it was the jump ball with Petro, where he makes a bad read, and then he leaves Foligno all alone in front of the net. So they've just made a few bad reads and had a few bad bounces where they're just going to need those guys to be rock solid like we know Hannafin and Petro to be in order to close out this series. But the fact that they're able to sneak out that game 4 win and come from behind and kind of get all their guys clicking again, I really, really lean towards Vegas now at this point. It sucks. I don't know when I think it's been since 2010 since Minnesota's been out of the first round. It's been a long
10
time.
10 years. I think 15.
Yeah, maybe 10 years, but I don't think it's going to happen now as good as they've played. And then fuck, man, that Zeev Bouillon penalty, tough play, man. I felt so bad for him. He cut Stone pretty bad, 4-minute minor, and then Boldy has the chance to clear it. He whiffs on it. Like those are the little moments that if they lose this series, Minnesota is going to look back on, just like the Byfield non-clear. Like, fuck, man, this series, we were this close to having their nuts in a vice in a 3-1 series lead.
I thought it was like mini team of destinies type thing when Hurdle gets that goal, a completely kind of lucky bounce in front to go up 3-2. And 50 seconds later, Spurgeon ties it up. Sick wraparound. I'm like, oh my God, they are not going away. And then you get to overtime, and I feel bad for Jake Middleton, man. I think if he could do it over, he's going up the wall and you're trying to keep it out of the middle. Totally understand the high flip play. Just get it out, relief pressure, but he kind of whiffs on it, and then it ends up in front. He went down to try to block the pass, and he wasn't able to kind of block it completely, or it bounced right to the Vegas player. And it's just one of those things where with Bouillon, you're going to play him, right? He's the power play guy. And then all of a sudden in overtime, he's not playing. He's not playing the power play at the end of the third period. How's your confidence after taking that penalty? And then after to not be getting thrown out there, it's like, fuck, I understand how high the stakes are, but like you got to show some belief in him. And I get John Hines. Like, I just really can't trust him right now. But to me, it's like, I think you put him out there and a guy with his pedigree and what he's done prior. Now, it hasn't been in the NHL. It's like, that's a guy I believe that would answer the bell and show up and make up for his mistake. But now you wonder, will he continue to play? I don't know. But going back to Vegas, for them to get that game, yeah, they have life. They got the home ice advantage once again. And that is Tuesday night. We're going to see a special one in Vegas, I think. I think Gustafson can bounce back. I don't think it's done yet. I could see that going 7-2, Biz.
Yeah, the one shocking thing this playoffs, I find there's a lot of goals being scored on teams like after they win the faceoff. They'll win the faceoff and they'll have a blunder and end up in the back of their net. Like the other night, Tampa snaps one back. McDonough, I thought he was going to go up the strong side. Looked like the ref got in the way. They make the wrong play, comes back in their end, and that's when Bennett goes over to Tkachuk for the first one. I don't know if you caught game 3 that Montreal won where Dowd wins the faceoff, and it's a bobbling puck. It goes to Carlson. He like tries to tow it, goes right out in the slot, and I think it was Suzuki who ended up scoring the goal. Even in that same game, Dowd on the neutral zone faceoff where Dvorak gets kicked out, Gallagher's like, no, I want it. Did you see that play?
Yep.
Where Dowder snaps it back and Gallagher's almost anticipating it, pounces on it, it gets turned over. They go in and score the goal. So
how about
face-off
McDavid on the third goal to Bouchard, and he's on the bench? Like, what the fuck?
Oh, I tweeted out after that one. I go, that might get McDavid in a Maple Leafs jersey. He was fed up. He's like, motherfucker, I snap back a draw. I'm going to the net thinking we're going to put one in, and you're bobbling this motherfucker, and we're going back the way. You touched on it earlier. That skillful play by Fiala, who bats it out of the air, 5 feet out of the air, right back to his twig, and then to put that in the net. Like, but once again, like, I always feel like some playoffs, like, I think it was last year, the year before, it seemed like teams were scoring after winning one in the offensive zone, like 3-4 seconds later, boom, it was in the back of the net. Where this year, the theme for me is a team wins a draw, somehow they fuck it up, just like you said, Middleton, and it ends up in the back of their net. And even in the net front part where he turns the wrong way, oh, fuck. I don't even think the puck had crossed the goal line, and Barbashev was already sprinting the other way, celebrating that goal. So incredible series, incredible crowd in Minnesota. Sucks that they fumbled the bag, but hey, we'll see. We'll see if we get some more action.
They're going back there no matter what. Let's see if they can close it out, or they got to stay alive. And that leads us to another team that stayed alive, the Ottawa Senators. And Biz, who would ever worry about being up 3-1, right? I mean, you're up 3-0. You can lose one game. Why would the Leafs be worried, right? They would never, ever choke away a 3-0 series lead. That wouldn't happen. Right, Toronto, they're nails. They run the playoffs. They've won one series in 20 years. It's how could we believe that they could possibly blow this?
Well, first of all, as I've said many a times, this team's different. It's not going to happen. Not ideal in a closeout game in Ottawa. In order to get the sweep, you have a 4-minute minor called on Ottawa, where you can close the series out, and you get 5 shots on net. Austin Matthews hits the post, and congrats to Sanderson. Sends a sifter in there. Bad screen by Carlo on his own goalie. For those of you who want to like the hockey talk, on that play, Carlo has Zetterlund on the opposite side of his goaltender, right? If he's already on that side as the shot's coming, you have to stay on the opposite side after the shots come. Then you worry about the box out. You don't want to screen your own goaltender. It's the same reason that Hellebuck looked at Morrissey like, what the fuck, after he went crossbody screen on him. So not ideal. I'm curious to know if the hit on JT early in overtime that put him out down the tunnel, right? So JT had, I don't know if it was concussion protocol. I don't know if he got his bell rung and he took himself out down the tunnel. That kind of scrambled things, where they didn't do the 5-forward power play unit. They went back to Riley on the point for that one. So mind you, I don't know if the reasoning for that was because earlier in the game, they gave up a shorthanded goal when they had the 5 forwards out, and they're thinking, listen, we got 4 minutes here to score. Let's not get scored on again on our power play. Let's play it a little bit safer. I don't know if that's why Morgan Riley was out there, but you also can't blame that power play because they had 5 shots. I thought they had great sustained pressure. They hit the fucking post. 9 times out of 10, Austin Matthews is putting that in the back of the net, especially in that building. That was the building where he played his first NHL game. He had a 4-goal game. He has luck in that building. So I said from the beginning, this series is going to go 5 games. It's going to be a gentleman's sweep because the Toronto Maple Leafs are a classy organization. They wanted Ottawa to get a win at home. They wanted that young core group to get a taste of what it's like to have playoff win experience. But ultimately, the Leafs are a much better team. They're going to put a full 60.
But are they, though, Biz? They've fucking gone to overtime pretty much every game. Are you worried about this at all? 3 games overtime.
This is playoff hockey.
It's against Ottawa. You were saying it should have been could have been a sweep, gentleman's sweep at that. And I'm a Leafs guy with you, but you just barely beating Ottawa. Is that sending good signals to your brain about who they're going to have to play?
Mark my words here, folks. This one's over in 5 fucking games, okay?
Okay, so what are you going to say if they somehow lose?
You fucking assholes trying to plant the seed of doubt can suck my dick. It ain't happening.
I agree it's going to go 5 games, but going to overtime with Ottawa every game when they're the far superior team coming into this series. Everyone.
This is about entertainment. This isn't about sweeping teams.
Okay.
6-2,
Oh, what about Bobby Holy?
7-1.
What about Bobby Holy?
Yeah, Bobby
Save your
Holy.
energy. Close him out when you can.
Closing out in 5 games and getting to go home and getting 2 days off in between game 4 and 5 is
Oh, he's
conserving
foaming,
energy.
Whit. He's foaming.
He's foaming. Biz, I'll tell you this. You're right. All right. They won game 4. We go back home. We take care of business.
Barely.
If Ottawa goes in and somehow brings them back to
no.
Ottawa
You know
for
what?
6, then it's going 7. That is straight out of Oilers-Panthers last year. It was, hey, let's drag them back to Berta. Let's drag them back to Ottawa. Get a win in Toronto, and we're going 7. And then I think if they lose Tuesday night, it's panic time for old Bizzy boy. And I can tell the foam, the energy, the hat. If they win in 5, Biz was right. Nostradamus Biz, he's correct. Mark his words. But if they lose, oh my God.
You're right.
Oh my God.
You're right. I was
Big
foaming
if.
a little bit at the mouth there. I was.
Big if.
My
It's a big
Biz
if.
rabies came out there.
Can we talk quickly, Biz? Leafs fan.
I'll admit this, though. I'll admit this. If they do lose game 5, my arsehole will go from being this puckered up to about this puckered up. If they lose game 6,
oh, you're done.
It'll be about.
You're gonna have a heart attack.
that
You're gonna have a heart
puckered up.
attack. It'll
That's
be
how puckered up.
there'll be a little butt plug in there, and you'll be laying there. What happened to Biz? Oh, the Leafs blew another one. And I will bring up Leafs some impressive things. I don't know if Zub threw a weight vest on or Matthew Nyes was shot out of a rocket, but that goal, he skated by him like it was like I was out there. And I was very happy for Zub. Get that hog off the screen. This is not.
That's what I was doing when I saw that
acceptable.
goal.
Zub made a beautiful pass to Perron to make up for it when they went up 3-2. But that goal and that speed and then the move going that fast, boom, little forehand, snipe top shelf. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait till somebody 9.5 times 8 offer sheet signed. See ya.
That was put right into my spank bank. That was one of the nicest goals I've ever seen. Yeah, he was shooting fucking lightning bolts out of his ass as he just left Zub in his dust. And you said it. The fact that speed, he was able to fake backhand, go forehand, and go top cheese right where grandma hides the vibrators is absolutely banana lands. And this kid, dude, is incredible. They have to do whatever they can to lock him in. I think like he is just as much, if not more of a priority to re-sign than Mitch Marner. And at this point, I would say more of a priority just because his game transfers more over to playoff hockey. I think that the big dogs, for the most part, have been excellent for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I still think Stolarz has been awesome. Happy with their D. Very happy with the production from the back end for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That play from Willie Nylander over to Oliver Ekman-Larsson with that quick release, incredible. But listen, full marks to Ottawa for not giving up. Some of these young guys getting it done for them. Pinto. I mean, if we're going to compliment Nyes for getting shot out of a cannon, that PK goal, Pinto, like he was shot out of cannon. Incredible read. Did you guys see my breakdown on that goal, though, with them having 5 forwards on the power play?
Yeah, Matthews went way too low.
If you don't have, that's my one, if I have one gripe with the Leafs, is I feel like sometimes those guys are maybe a little bit too laissez-faire, right? They kind of just, because they're so talented offensively, like sometimes the hockey brain just tends to shut off to a little bit of a degree where I'm okay with Marner pinching on that strong side. I am. And he did have back pressure from Nyes. Maybe not the best pinch. Maybe the coaching staff doesn't want a pinching there, and maybe that's why Matthews hung in. But unless you have full possession on that wall, especially at the fact that Ottawa's overloading, if you're Matthews, you could hang out at the blue line, and if it does get sent to the weak side, you're still going to win that race for the puck. There's nobody over there. The farthest player for the Ottawa Senators to the weak side of the ice was at the far side dot. So Matthews would have won that race every day of the week. So he cheats, he's fading away, and the minute Pinto's gone, it's breakaway season. There's no safety valve on the weak side. So that was one of my gripe. But Brady, fucking gamer, A lot of their guys' game. I think that they definitely need more from Batherson. Haven't necessarily been that impressed with him so far.
Stutzel getting that first goal for him. Maybe
Big.
that gets him going big time.
Big.
Right? That was a
Big.
hell of a shot.
Cousins as well. Haven't necessarily seen the most out of him. But Sanderson's been incredible for them. He's going to be an absolute stud. But I don't really have much else other than the fact that I ain't scared. We're closing out in 5. Different team. Suck my cock haters. And we're on to Cleveland.
All right. Well, that leaves us with it's Cincinnati.
How about
It's Cincinnati. It was Cincinnati. It was Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. Speaking of that, the interview.
What's going on?
He looks. I think he's being held like captive by her.
Oh,
This is
no
Bill
shit,
Belichick.
eh?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing his interviews, and what the hell is wrong with him?
We're not talking about that.
He's got a Navy sweatshirt on with a rip in it. Like, you're the coach of North Carolina. Would you not rock Tar Heels gear? Crazy. I mean, I think that's why when you're 70 years old, you don't date 24 years old. But none of my business.
Well, I mean, it worked out for Shannon Sharp. But the fact that she's being tagged on emails for like personnel stuff with the football team is bizarro land.
No,
like that's
she
probably
played. She was a wide receiver.
No
in high school.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Sick
that's
He's going to coach the receivers.
flag football.
He was going to bring her to New England, but then he got fired, so he started dating her instead. So, one more series left, but before we get there, and before we bring in our guest, we got to talk about Game Time. The NHL playoffs are here. We're talking about it, and the only place to buy hard-to-get playoff tickets is Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NHL playoff tickets. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to puck drop. You could save up to 60% when buying last-minute tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying NHL playoff tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Chiclets for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game Time. And Pasha, our guest, actually got tickets from Game Time, both games under $70 each.
Wow.
So, Pasha, you got to see one for under $70 that you loved, and you were flying high after Game 3, and then you got to see one for under $70 because of Game Time, and you did not love that. It was not enjoyable for Devils fans.
That's correct. Yeah, a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I really thought that they were back in the series after that electric double OT winner by Simone Nemitz. But at a bit of a loss for words, to be honest. Like, this was not totally unexpected, kind of where we sit today. I've definitely been in better spirits.
Outclassed.
I don't know about outclassed.
Well, you're trying to fucking kill Anderson in net. What the fuck is that? Timo Meier.
Timo Meier could have had 3 penalties in that game. He buried Robinson, but not even near the puck. He ran over Anderson. I don't know how that wasn't called.
What did you make of the non-call, Pasha?
I would have been fine with it. I would have been fine with a 2-minute minor. Like, I don't think it was like malicious. Let's try and hurt the guy. I think it was just a bit reckless. But like, Timo plays with that edge. He's a bull in a china shop. I love his game. That's part of why I love his game. But I would have been okay with 2 minutes, especially with Anderson getting hurt there.
So I mean, it takes them double overtime. Nemec, who you have been, I mean, very worried about, very hard on for a second overall pick. It's like, but he scores the goal, and he's your hero. He's your hero. But just to win one game, it was that difficult. You outshot him by a good amount. You really thought going into Game 4 it was going to, like, go the Devils' way? Because my thought was it was that difficult to win one game. Carolina comes back to life and handles business, no problem, Game 4. I was correct, Pasha. I had that call. I was right.
Well, just touching on Nemec, if you're looking for any positives in this series for the Devils, there's not many, but his play is definitely a positive. He has looked very good, stepped up to the moment, has his confidence back. If he can continue next year to play like he has this playoffs and he did in his first year, that's huge for the franchise going forward. Obviously, we've talked about how big of a disaster his regular season was this year. So he's looked great. But, I mean, what do you want me to say, Whit? Like, they get a double OT win. They dominated that game. They outplayed them the game before. They're back at home. Like, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I thought that they were going to keep it rolling and win that game. obviously, first shot goes in and the wheels came off pretty quick. But I was positive. I thought they'd win it.
How about that read by Jacob Slavin, boys?
Oh,
Just that, like he's got such good feet. To trust your feet where you come up as a defenseman like that and make that pinch like inside the offensive zone blue line, and then to one touch it to himself on the backhand to his forehand. That's probably one, as a Devils fan, you're frustrated to see go in, like that angle shot.
Full credit to Slavin. Incredible play by him. But like similar to Byfield, what is Nason doing? Had so much time, get that puck out. And then Markstrom's the last guy I'm blaming for this series. But what is Markstrom doing there? Like tough angle. But again, credit to Slavin. Incredible play. But Jesus Christ, Nason's got to get that puck out.
I think that I just am worried for Carolina about Anderson. It's just impossible for him to stay healthy.
Fragile. Very fragile.
So do you think was that a head injury?
I mean, think maybe whiplash. It didn't look that bad. Like he did.
It was a penalty, 2 minutes interference. He kind of went into him hard, but I didn't think seeing that he'd be leaving the game.
Yeah, there's certain goalies, and like, listen, like you're not shitting on a guy for being injured. Like if you're injured, you're injured. But like some goalies are just very fragile. Like they had Antti Ranta, where every time he got touched, he'd be out, like 3 weeks out. Okay. And some guys, it's just harder to rely on, where the minute they get bumped, it's like they're down the tunnel and they're throwing their backup in. Like I talked to a few other guys who are professionals who played net, and they're like, that's exactly why I would have started Kochetkov, because I trust him more. And they basically were like, oh, shocker that this happened. They said that this exact thing is inevitable when Anderson's in net. He's going to get touched. He's going to go down the tunnel, and he's not going to be relied upon to play the next game. So hopefully he's back in there. And going back to, I think, what you asked Jans earlier, like, what does it do for a team when your goalie gets hurt and then he's back and he's battling through it a little bit? Well, I guess we're going to have to find out to next game to see if Anderson's in the net. But Kochetkov, who played majority of the games this season, he started 47 of them, or played in 47 of them. Anderson was a little banged up at certain points during the year, but towards the end of the year, Kochetkov, his play fell off. So I wasn't surprised to see them going to Anderson, but Anderson he's not the Vasilevsky. He's not the Bobrovsky. He's not the guy that you can play, 55, 60 games in a regular season and expect him mentally to be fresh and go the full distance come playoff time. That's just history repeating itself. That's a proven fact. But when he is, he's incredible. The numbers speak for themselves. But what do they say? The best
ability is availability.
Ooh, wow, that's
reading each other. Brought you on board.
That's where I lived that was my whole career. But is like, I know goalies are kind of like, people don't really talk to him like that. Like, I feel like someone on that team should be like, hey, dude, we don't give a fuck that you're 50%. We think we have a better chance of winning if you're playing at 50%. Just give us a shot tonight. Get out there and play.
I know, but I can't picture that.
Whether
right?
it's concussion or not, didn't look like a concussion. What's that?
Oh, you skipped out there, Jans.
Sorry, you just skipped out quickly. Yeah, I mean, that's just hard to imagine. Imagine like going up to a goalie.
I know.
Fucking put the pads on. You're fine. He's like, all right. He's foaming at the mouth.
Rod
like
can do it.
Through an eating tube.
Now,
get your fucking ass in there.
Brindamore made a great decision. He moved Svechnikov up with Aho. Boom. He gets a quick goal early, ends up getting the hat trick. Awesome game for him. And the biggest problem, Jersey, they're down 3-1. But if their power play, one of the best power plays in the league, Pasha, could have done anything in this series, it could be different. They're 0 for 12.
0 for 12, and they've given up a shorthanded goal. They're the only team in the playoffs without a power play goal, and 1 of 5 to give up a shorty. I think losing Luke just threw that all for a loop. They just they're out of sync. And Dougie hasn't looked great since he's been back. So yeah, obviously special teams, which was their bread and butter all year, has really, really cost them. Surprisingly, actually, they've carried play 5-on-5. They've had the better 5-on-5 play. So it's kind of been the opposite of what I expected going into the series. But another not surprising stat, other than Nemitz's double OT winner, that was the only goal this series for the Devils that Hischier, Bratt, or Meyer have not been involved with. So just 0 secondary contributions. Could have seen this coming from a mile away. And when you lose a guy like Jack Hughes, the only way of winning is when you're just getting tons of third, fourth line contributions, which the Devils haven't. So Fitzy's got a lot of work to do in the offseason because you got to beef up that third and fourth line. And I do think that had Jack not been hurt, he would have taken a big time swing at sort of a Brock Nelson, kind of like that 3C type. But yeah, you need contributions coming from the bottom of the lineup, and they have not gotten that.
Wow, Pasha.
Pasha's he's so level-headed because if Jersey was up 3-1, we'd be dealing with a raging lunatic. So it's nice. It's nice. It stinks for him that when he's normal, his team stinks, but it's nice for us. Pasha, I'll leave you with this: as the power play's struggling, and you think of a guy like Brady Tkachuk, right? Like in front of the net, he helps power plays. You once said you would not do a Simone Nemec for Brady Tkachuk 1-for-1 trade. Would you care to address that? Would you?
Yeah,
you still stand by that?
It was a bad take. It's a bad take. We've all had them. You more than most. Yeah, bad take. I take it back.
All right. Well,
Pasha's a new man with his girl. He's got his girl now.
Probably told him settle down.
How is the girl, Posh?
She's good, except G updated you guys in the chat. We're sitting there, game on Friday.
yeah.
Devils are up 2-rip. There's like, I don't know, 12 minutes left in the third. She texts me. I look at my phone. Devils won. And I'm just like, oh no. Oh no. And 5 minutes later, it's a 2-2 game. Grinelli's just dying laughing. And I'm sitting there just being like,
So you broke up with her, obviously.
Wait, you didn't dump her?
No, he said if they lost, he was done. He said, guys, good thing they won. I still have a girlfriend.
Wow.
Crisis was averted. But yeah, I would have had to do some reflection had they blown that game. So I texted her. I was like, from now on, none of those texts. You gotta double, triple check before you're sending any text like that. So crisis averted, thank God.
Hey,
but
might as well learn. Might as well learn when she's young, right? Before it gets too serious.
And during playoffs.
He had sent her flowers. Then the text came through. They tied it. He switched it to Anthrax. Then he had to cancel that order when they won. So it was good. She's still with us. Pasha, thank you very much. Let's see if they could bring it back to Jersey. I'm guessing this one's probably ending in 5, as most people saw. But thanks for coming on, buddy. You're so normal and nice and not crazy. And maybe the Devils getting back in the mix will bring back that crazy Pasha.
Don't worry. The deranged Pasha's bottled up, and it'll be out there next year and for the next decade when they're a wagon. So
it's kind of nice not having to run the disclaimer too. Just kind of bring them in nice
I kind of miss it.
No, we're closer to a disclaimer for you with the Leafs.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right, Pasha. See you, buddy.
I think the foam on my lips is the disclaimer. When I get my rabies.
We're on to the quick hits now. That was all 8 series, which is actually insane that we talked Friday morning and then that much shit happened. So just imagine next Friday when we come back to you. Game notes will have you Wednesday at noon. But just wild. What a first round. Coaching carousel. It's getting crazy. We talked to Kevin Hayes. He was kind of crying actually. Pittsburgh Penguins have relieved Mike Sullivan of head coaching duties. Now, I don't know if it was more a mutual decision. I've read some things that maybe Mike Sullivan's looking at, like, I can kind of really change the coaching payment market.
Oh, you think?
Like what this guy, Kevin Weeks, per my conversation with several team owners, executives, and coaches, given the timing, $7 billion plus NHL revenues and other factors, Sullivan can reset the coach's compensation market. Does he get to or eclipse the high watermark $7 million per season? You hear Boston and New York, right? Back and forth. He has coached both of those teams, if I'm correct, right? Or was he the assistant in New York?
I have no clue.
He coached Bruins. That's when RA had the bag over his head.
I think he was the assistant for Torts in New York, maybe.
Or Quinney? Maybe assisted for Quinney?
I also think that, like,
no.
What am I talking about?
No, he was in Pittsburgh when Quinney was there.
Like $7 million for a coach? Like, really?
Babcock style.
Isn't the league a what have you done for me lately league, especially with the coaches?
Not with coaches.
I think that
get that much money.
I think that he's smart enough to realize there's a situation going on right now where there's a lot of desperate teams. There's also a few teams who essentially have, like, I don't want to say unlimited budgets. Like Boston's a pretty notoriously cheap team. They've had to change their ways for, like, keeping McAvoy and Pasternak and a few other players and haven't gotten more with the times. But obviously there's a lot of pressure on Sweeney and Cam Neely right now. And it's an original six franchise, so they're going to want somebody with a type of allure. Bringing in a multiple Stanley Cup champion is going to be able, when you're sitting at that press conference, it's going to go a lot better than their last one. Let's just put it that way, right? When they got asked about their drafting ability. So they could put a Band-Aid on last season if they're able to bring in a guy of his stature or of Rick Tocchet's stature. But the minute that Rick Tocchet signs a deal, if he does beforehand, let's say, who's the next best available coach? I mean, you could say Quenneville, but Quenneville is in a situation where he's probably going to have to take less than what he's actually worth, given with what's gone on in the past, and might have to find himself, as I believe Kevin Weeks tweeted out, like the eye emojis, or maybe it was Butchergross. It was Quenneville and Anaheim Ducks, a place where maybe he can fly under the radar a little bit more, not necessarily a team like Boston where it's a media circus, where if you bring in Quenneville, it's going to be a 5-ring circus. So I look at Tocchet and I look at Sullivan, who are probably going to be looking at around the $5.5–6 million ranges as head coaches. So perfect timing for Sullivan. He gets to get out of a situation where maybe it's a little bit overdue. Pittsburgh's doesn't look like they're in win mode now. I don't think much is going to change. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team again next year, regardless if Sidney Crosby keeps doing what he's doing. So he gets to go move on to greener pastures, a team that's more prepared right now to win, and also to a team who can hand him the ultimate bag. Now, I also think it's ridiculous if you sign him to like a 5-year, $6–7 million deal. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think any head coach should be getting paid that much money. Because at the end of the day, most of these guys are running the same systems. There's a few different variations of them, and you can get just as much value out of a guy making 3 to 4 as you can a guy making 6 to 7.
Would you say the same about NFL, or do you think based on how
Way
much
different.
more coach? Okay,
way different.
Yeah.
We're talking about a game. We're talking about a game that is literally 5-second plays. Like, it's literally all about the play that you're drawing up. Hockey is like
coaches win and lose games in the NFL.
Coaches, exactly. Where hockey, it's like how many different variations of a forecheck are there? Oh, let's go with a split forecheck. Oh, let's hang back like the Kings and just hang out at the blue line. Like, fuck, I could tell them to do that, right? I should be getting paid.
I got a question. If you're a Bruins fan or player, or no, let's go fan, so maybe G can pop in. Would you rather have Mike Sullivan, who's already been there, obviously during tougher times, but would you rather Mike Sullivan as your coach or Rick Tocchet? Both of them, Tock played in Boston a little bit. Sully's
why
from
would
there.
they want that job? I don't want the Bruins
I
job.
think that the Tocchet situation makes sense for Boston because they're going to have a decent amount of younger players. Tocchet is good with his staff on developing as much as coaching. Also, they have a few guys locked into long-term deals that he has coached, Lindholm and Zadorov. And those guys both, I wouldn't say Lindholm as much, but Zadorov played his best hockey under Rick Tocchet. So in order to maybe put a Band-Aid on those bad signings, at least as of last year, as well as help develop prospects, I think the answer would be Tocchet more so than Sullivan for them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I can speak for Bruins fans and say that nobody wants to deal with this father-in-law bullshit that's going to come with this.
What is it? What does that mean? Who's the connection there?
Mike Sullivan, Charlie McAvoy is married to Mike Sullivan's daughter.
Who cares?
Yeah, but he's Coach Connor Sherry.
It's not about that. It's about every day you turn on the radio and Boston sports radio. Like, you want to talk about aggressive media markets? That's Boston. Every time you turn on the radio, and they got to name a captain this year. What if they name Charlie McAvoy the captain? And then it's all, Mike Sullivan, father-in-law. He's just looking out for his son-in-law here. So I think Bruins fans want Rick Tocchet like more than anyone. And I think there'd be, David Carl is ahead of the list above Mike Sullivan. And we probably know, David Carl just pulled his name out of the Blackhawks.
Yeah, that was weird, eh?
That's a tough look for the Blackhawks, considering like they give him a monster 5-year offer.
Oh,
right?
That's what they offered him?
It was a 5-year deal, I've read. Apparently he I'm going on the word of somebody who said he was asking for a little bit more decision making in the personnel type part of being a coach, where you're kind of you're reaching into two different bags there, and in the end he decides to go back to Denver as it looks right now. I just think like Mike Sullivan, he's leaving Pittsburgh with no prospects. And I'm not saying that's his fault, but it was just such a tough couple years. Then you go to Boston where it's kind of a similar situation. I mean, I see him in New York.
Yeah, but you're going to get a top pick too, though.
Yeah, but
I think Boston's in a way better situation moving forward than New York is.
Yeah, but not in the next 2 years. Not in the next 2 years.
Oh, God, I think New York's breaking it down. Like, I think in the next 2 years, Boston's still in a better spot. They have a top 5 pick this year. David Pastrnak, Morgan Geekie just scored 30 goals. Charlie McAvoy, Jeremy Swayman. Yeah. RFA, they'll sign him. Juddy's got us locked up. Juddy's looking out for the Bees. But one thing about David Carl I would like to bring up is Buchagras mentioned this earlier, and I thought this was super interesting because Tourney is still the coach in Utah, but he mentioned David Carl to Utah possibility just because of, like you said, the decision making. He thinks that Ryan Smith would do something a little bit unconventional and give him roster capabilities. You know what I mean? And that's where he can pay. Ryan Smith is probably going to pay, and he'll give you a long-term deal. So it's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, right now.
Either
Biz,
way,
let me
these
read
guys
it
are going to
quick.
get paid. Did you get any word on money for Carl?
No,
there was no.
You
no
have
talk
to
of-
imagine it was around $5 million-ish. That's a
That's
guess.
crazy for a guy
That's
who's never coached a game in the National
I
League.
know.
That's wild.
And what you would assume would be Kyle Davidson's last time, like if that
Final
didn't
hire.
go well, you got to think he's gone. But Frank Sullivan already tweeted right now, head coaching vacancies: Bruins, Rangers, Flyers, Blackhawks, Ducks, Kraken, Penguins, and to be determined the Canucks and the Islanders. So it's going to be
That's fucking crazy, dude.
I know.
The
Holy
term,
This is every
that's
year
why I
now.
said it's ridiculous to offer a coach 6-7 million. Like, look at the coaching carousel. It's a fucking joke now. Like,
Yeah.
there's no longevity for coaches. Oh, it's not working. Next guy. It's not working. Next guy. No onus on the general managers anymore.
That's why I think it's crazy.
One
for
coach I
Carl
would love to
even
see.
leave college.
One coach I would love to see is Patrick Waugh. If he gets fired from the Islanders, him in Boston would be such a funny story. Like, he tells Montreal to fuck off. He's done with the franchise. He goes to their franchise's biggest rival in Boston. That would be an awesome story.
Yeah.
You got to be the only Bruins fan hoping that they hire Patrick Waugh.
I
How
just
does
want to see the world burn.
You don't.
How does G have worse Wi-Fi than Yans?
I don't know, but Jens, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying that's why I think if I'm Matt Carl, I'd stay in college for the rest of my life. Like these jobs, like you could, like Jack Parker. How long was he in Boston for? 40 years.
Yeah,
He had
but
the Bruins offer once.
but if Carl's making $1 million at school, like, you sign your 5-year deal, you're making you sign your $25 million ticket, and you go back to college. Like, if he ever goes back to college, he can go to any program he wants to. Obviously, Denver's an elite program, but he could go to another elite program, and by then they're probably going to have Division I schools in like Texas and Florida and all these other sunny states where you'd rather even be to begin with. So
That was a guess on the offer. You got to think that's right where it was around, maybe a little below 5. In terms of, you mentioned quickly Quenneville, with my bet for who gets a $5,000 too with Pasha, that the Ducks get a cup before the Devils. God, I would want Q to get hired by them. That core, that young group, Carlson, Gauthier, Lacombe. Oh my, I mean, there is so much there to bring in a guy who's won all those Stanley Cups with young guys playing major roles in the lineup. And Biz, you bringing up the lack of media circus, Southern California, you're not going to deal with the madness. That makes a lot of sense to me. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But yeah, it is crazy to see how many how many vacancies there are right now. And I guess Elliot Friedman mentioned that he could see Mike Sullivan like with the Rangers tomorrow. So
yeah, I could
I
see
don't
that.
know.
And they got the money to spend. Dolan's got unlimited budget. And yeah, that's
And you bring up Kyle Davidson. This is kind of maybe his last hire if things go poorly. Chris Drury, if things struggle and they do hire Mike Sullivan, you wonder his job security. Now, he just signed an extension, but nowadays, Biz, you said it, the coaches get gassed and the GMs keep living.
As a Rangers fan, what's the difference between Mike Sullivan and Peter Laviolette?
Not a hell of a lot.
Like, why bring in, the same type of guys, same, old school, you know, cut from the same cloth type of coach. Like I'm bringing in something completely different.
They do seem quite similar, actually.
Well, how many cups does Laviolette have?
1.
How many does Sullivan have?
2.
That's the difference.
All right.
Yeah.
But
That's it. Boys, I don't know if I mean, we've got a big chat right now. I believe there's like about 6,000 people watching. Maybe it's dipped a little bit. Maybe we take a couple, like what's the theme going on in the chat right now? I haven't been looking. What are most people asking about? I mean, obviously they probably missed most of what went on earlier, but any common theme as to what they're asking for, G?
It's a lot of where is Mike Sullivan going to end up? Your Matthew Nyes comment kind of got people a little rattled earlier about you'd rather pay Matthew Nyes over Mitch Marner. People are asking what would Matthew Nyes cost if the Leafs re-sign him?
Well, not as much as Mitch Marner.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if you're getting him at 8 or 8.5 compared to 14.
So I don't think you're good. I think at this point you're probably looking at between 8.5 and 9 for Matthew Nyes. Now, I don't have, I obviously talk to people, like, not like this could be complete bullshit, but my understanding is it could get to the point where him and his agent are going to push things to where it goes past July 1st, where he does get the possibility to get an offer sheet. I think that would be bullshit. If they were to offer him a healthy contract of like a 8 times 8.5, which I would offer him today, and he's like, no, we'll see how things go. It's like, buddy, we fucking developed you. You've gotten the opportunity to play with Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and be put on a pedestal. This was his breakout year, which I believe he didn't hit the 60-point mark. So we're gonna give you fucking how much is 8 times 8.5? I'm no rocket scientologist, but that's just under $70 million.
68?
Yeah. Like if you turn that down, like I might fucking meet him in Toronto and fucking challenge him to a scrap if he doesn't sign that deal. Like I'm fucking serious.
You're just straight up going him because he doesn't want to be.
I'm gonna say fuck you. You fucking sign that fucking deal right now, you piece of shit.
Man, that's going to be an interesting storyline. Marner's just so good. He is
Marner.
So good.
I get if Marner wants to be greedy about it. I understand it because of the disrespect he's felt. In a sense of at the deadline this year, after putting up a 100-point season, that they were prepared to get rid of him for Rantanen and then offer Rantanen 8 times 13.5. Because I believe that's what the number that Rantanen was being offered. So if you're Mitch Marner, you're like, well, I'm getting that. And if not, I'm getting 8 times 14 because I'm just going to be a little bit of a I'm going to be a little spiteful in the sense that you try to do that to me where I get it. Right. And he's and Matthew Nyes, remind you, he's restricted. Marner can be a free agent. He's earned that right. So I'm taking, if the contracts were 8 times 8.5 or 8 times 9, I'm taking Matthew Nyes at 8 times 9 over Mitch Marner at 8 times 14. And if you're in the chat and you disagree with me, you can suck a fart out of my asshole.
Is there a world that they can have both of them?
Buddy, I mean,
well, Tavares would be gone unless he's making
Tavares would have to take. Tavares would have to take league minimum.
Yeah,
which I've heard stories. He wants to retire there. That's where he wants to be. So I feel like he could take a discount. Obviously, probably not $1 million, but I feel like that those crew of guys have to come together, like Sid and Gino and Letang did, and be like, "Hey, what should we be making?"
They've done the exact opposite of
that. Opposite.
But now they can they can,
and not even on 8-year deals, on like 5-year deals and 6 and 7-year deals. So, other than that, anything else with the chat? We appreciate you guys for hanging around. We've went over 2 hours. Unbelievable hockey so far.
Tavares has made $111 million, Biz. So, you really, really, really want to be a Leaf? Give me a year at 1.5. Who cares?
That ain't happening. I would offer him a deal of 3 times 3 would be nice. 3 times
get another 9. Get it to 120 for the career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even numbers. OCD.
Last thing from the chat, guys. Have your cup picks changed at all since now that we've seen some games?
If a gun to my head, watching that last Colorado Avalanche game, I would have to lean to them. I think it's going to be Colorado Leafs final. I've obviously still ride with my Leafs, but if it was like, pick a fucking team, and I'm picking Colorado after that last performance.
I'm a little panicked that Florida is like on the path to possibly do this again.
Yeah, right.
Coming
They ain't
off a
getting by the
5-1
Leafs.
loss, but they had a bunch of shots. Like if they squeeze through this series in 5 somehow, they will smash the Leafs. Like I want that series more than anything, just to watch you implode and foam all over TNT Studios as Florida bullies the Leafs, just like they did 2 years ago.
Yeah, my picks hasn't changed. I still think the winner of the Dallas, Colorado, they're going to go to the finals, and the winner of Florida, Tampa are going to the finals.
Well,
yeah, you
you're a
said
fucking
that from
idiot.
the beginning.
Yans, we love you. Whit,
I love you guys. Hey, I got one last thing to say.
Love you,
Just
boys.
kind of a shout out, kind of like some tough news. So you guys know I do listen to the Kirk Minahan show a lot. It's a great show. It's a crazy community. Kirk, over the years, has brought in listeners to kind of be the third chair and the fourth chair. And a guy, he goes by Cinema Lords, right? So he's been on before. He played on his basketball team. Real name Nick Soares. I hope I'm saying that correct. Everyone knows him as Cinema Lords. 32 years old, passed away this weekend. So when you listen to the show, like this guy would come on. He was kind of a big part of the Minahan world. And I even ran into somebody at the airport yesterday. Right away, they came up like, how about Cinema Lords? I never met the guy or anything, but I'd heard him on the show and he was talked about a lot. So just kind of heartbreaking news for a guy that young.
Just a funny guy, Whit. Like just
yeah, he was
obviously
very
condoled.
funny. He had a hilarious kind of Boston accent and just like awesome dude on the show. That world is kind of like
Yeah, it's a
people can be
wacky
a little
world.
miserable to each other.
Yeah.
It's a wacky world, but it seemed like in reading everything on Twitter about him, like everyone loved this guy. Like I mentioned, I hadn't met him, but I know Kirk was really upset, and it's just kind of tough. You listen to a show daily, and all of a sudden a guy who's a part of the show passes away at 32 years old. Just wanted to shout him out. Brutal news, but ending with that's kind of tough. But we're back tonight. We got Tampa, Florida, crazy game 4. That'll be great. They've only played 3 games, and then what else do we have, boys? Dallas, Colorado, correct? I'm losing my mind here. Yes, Dallas, Colorado, 9:30, game 5, back in Dallas. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in.
We love you
Doing
guys.
a live show fun. Biz, 11 games this weekend, and you were ripping ready to go. Yance, I know you were at the lacrosse fields. Both girls won the title, I saw.
Congrats,
to them.
Yans.
That's
Thank you.
awesome. And I'm back on a normal schedule. It was a great vacation. It was so much fun with the
Good
family.
for you, Whit.
so-
You deserve it, buddy.
Thank you guys. Love you guys.
And just to all the fans who are still in the chat and watching, like the reason we do this is for you guys. We love you. Like I know it was a crazy weekend at TNT, but the game of hockey is in such an amazing place, and it just pumps me full of fucking adrenaline, and it just makes this job so easy as much as you guys watching and listening. So we love you, and yeah, fucking rights. Life is good, boys.
Life is good. Go Oil. Bring this thing back. Drag them back to Berta. Up
Jack
3-2.
Hyman, baby.
All right, guys. Chat, love you all. Thanks for listening. We will see you Friday. God knows what we have to talk about then. Peace.
Great job, Fishy, G, Pasha, everybody in the back too. We love you.